that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Wednesday, March 12th, 2025. Welcome to all the Neanderthals, all the canines, all the right-wingers, all the coloreds, the blacks, the whites, the Asians, the Christians, the Muslims, Jews, all the people from the kaleidoscope of the people around this planet who watch this program. Thank you for being here once again on Wednesday, March 12th, 2025. It is a pleasure, a distinct pleasure to have you back with me once again today for your daily dose, your daily injection against fake news. Op-ed disguised as news and nonsense from an objective position, not an unbiased, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone who claims they're unbiased is kidding themselves. We're all biased. Some of us are just objective, and that's what the media needs. Objective analysis, objective reporting. Fair and accurate. That's what we need, folks. Well, a bunch of things happening right now. Canadians are busy in Canada giving a live press conference whining about the United States and the unjust actions of Donald Trump. Ignoring their 250% tariffs on our dairy products. Yeah, ignoring their tariffs on so many products. And then claiming the reason why the automobile industry is in Ontario is because we offer the best workers. Horse manure. The reason they're in Ontario is because you had the lowest taxes. And so they decamped from Michigan, went across the lake, and set up in Ontario for the past 30 years, destroying and eviscerating our business because our labor unions were paying far or demanding too much in the way of wages. And these corporations were run by idiots who ran them in the ground. As a consequence of high taxation, overpriced labor, and an unfriendly business climate, it all moved to Canada. Not because you have great workers and because, no. You also had cheap energy too because you have a lot of hydroelectric power. So be honest there, Canadians. Stop lying to yourselves and stop lying to the world because you're just nothing but frauds. 1.2% of GDP spent on defense. You freeloading, lazy little turds in the Ottawa government. You are required to spend over 2% of GDP on defense, and you've been freeloading off the backs of American taxpayers for decades. It's time that you pay the piper. So Donald Trump's tariffs are not unjustified. They're, in fact, justified. While that's going on, the Europeans are also throwing tariffs on top of the United States. Apparently, the Europeans think it's perfectly acceptable that they can impose a 400% tariff for us to import cars into European countries. 400% over what we charge them. They think that's fair. And so in retaliation for Trump putting tariffs on them to get them to lower those tariffs, they've imposed tariffs on us to the tune of $28 billion. Well, guess what? This isn't going to go well for Europe. We only rely on 1/3 of our economy for trade, which is 16% of that is imports, 18% of that's exports, or 18% is import, backwards. 16% exports, 18% imports, so the deficit. So without that, we can do just fine. Yep. And the strategic minerals, relax. Those things are available on the world market. We'll get them from friendly countries. This effort to continue to take advantage of America is over. It is over. Are you paying attention, South Africa? Are you paying attention, France? Are you paying attention, United Kingdom, Germany? It's over. Canada, Mexico, you're not going to take advantage of Americans anymore. The lunatics are no longer in charge in Washington, D.C. for the short term. Meanwhile, in South Africa, the budget has been rejected roundly by the Democratic Alliance, by the Freedom Front Plus, by COSATU. Nobody wants South Africa's budget. As predicted, he came back in Enoch Gondwana with yet another value-added tax increase. So they want to hand out more money that they're stealing from the people who actually contribute to the economy to give the people who are doing nothing to help the economy as part of the payoff to keep votes. And then they're just going to take the money back from these people over here by taking it in the form of value-added tax. It's all circular. It's washing the laundry. You might as well call the South African government a racketeering organization because that's what they're doing. They're washing the money. They're eating the dogs or eating the cats. They're washing the money. They're laundering the money. Welcome back to the program, folks. Who we got here? Tim Martens, Hank Duploy, Vili Visagi, Gideon Maloney, Pip Hunter. And then he's mentioned that I'll be on with Ronaldo here shortly. Oh, crap. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. What am I doing? Wait a second. I think I got screwed up here because, I am a little screwed up here. I had another hour here. Wow. All right. Yeah. So, thank you for that. I'm on at 7. I've got mixed up here now. So it is only 4:30, 5:30, 6. Yeah, I've got a full, okay. I killed myself there. Wow. What was I thinking? No, I'm right. No, I'm wrong. Yeah, okay. I mixed up my daylight savings times. I've got in my head that I have to be done with for Ronaldo at noon, when actually it's at 1 o'clock after Ronaldo. Okay, so this news is early. My apologies for that, folks. But you're all here now, 500 of you, so let's hang around. Let's hang around. This is an early news broadcast because I definitely had a senior moment there, confused my time. This broadcast should have started an hour later than it did. Well, there you go. Oh, well. Anyway, so here we are. We're all together now, 529 people, 114 likes. Is that why I've only got 114 likes? Because you didn't like the early start? Come on, man.
That was easy.
You know, look, Neanderthals and canines aren't that bright. They're not clever. You know, they only survived half a million years as a species, and canines have only become, very adept at, detecting drugs and hunting down cadavers and, being man's best friend. So, sometimes we get it wrong. Giving to the poor with great, what's this, but taking back with that. Alfonso, welcome to you. So I've got plenty of time to cover all the topics I want to cover here today. That's great. They should have shut down the baby-making incentives. Indeed. So the poor will actually be poor. That's right. Yapi Baran, Jacques Cossia, Johan van Rooyen, Inkwell Odyssey's back. Karen Bapst. Hey, Karen. Salem's Cave. Yes, you guys can respond to the budget all you want. The other day I saw the YouTube video of a 30-year-old, son with 9 brats claiming child grant for all. Yeah, exactly. Yep. I see the colonel blood pressure rising again this afternoon. I'm okay, thanks. I'm just a little irritated at the Canadians lying and the Europeans lying. Lying. Big time liars. Okay. So, somebody's already having a beer. 1440. Superior Neanderthal dog. Trump got to send those planes already. Friends Free, welcome to you. Ina Bates, Neptune. Hope the strong drinks because I could sure use one after Days of Madness. It has been crazy. Yeah, why am I so early? Cool, because I screwed up. I'm a little messed up here. I got messed up here. So yeah, should have started an hour later. This would always be an early broadcast on this day, but that's fine because I actually have some video production I have to do. So my apologies for early start, but it hasn't hindered the audience, even though people are still at work. We're at 575 right now, so thank you for that. Maybe it'll grow, but we'll continue on with the program. I just a little bit out of sorts there. Sorry. I was focused on the budget, listening to it. I set the time out of habit because during daylight savings time in the winter time, I have to start this at 10:30 local in order to be done by 12 so that we can go on at 7 with Ronaldo because Ronaldo's at 7 p.m. Well, now that we jump forward an hour, that doesn't need to start until 11:30. So a little bit out of sync there. It's all on me. It's on me. Blame me, folks. Don't blame it on the rain. Blame it on Chris. Okay. What's going to happen now that's been rejected? Well, by the end of March, the government's probably going to have to shut down. I think they can only run through the end of March with the budget, and then they have to shut down. I believe that's the case. Don't hold me to that. But yeah, there's a problem here. They've got a problem. Marty's going to have a glass of wine before the syntax goes up. Good evening, Marius Fenter. Well, what they'll do next is they'll start charging an arrival fee for tourist arrivals from overseas. They'll start charging us $50 on arrival. So $50 on arrival for, a million people coming to South Africa, it's $50 million. No tax has not been increased, Jacqueline from Breda. The budget was rejected. The ANC doesn't have the votes to get it approved. It's been rejected. My 30 Rand vodka, okay. They did reject the budget, that's correct. And people are asking about why the Rand is not tanking. Well, because of this tariff conflict that's going on between the U.S. and all these other countries, it's left a lot of uncertainty in the international marketplace. Currencies generally aren't sinking one way or the other. I have a beer. Oh, Marius has a beer. These for the headache after listening to the budget speech. I'm glad I didn't listen to it. I listened to it after the fact. To listen to it live would have just been annoying. Welcome, Omegon. Helen Fonsell, welcome to you. Elijah, Fire, Jeremy. Frank Bruns was watching with Ronaldo, and our finance minister gave out a splitting headache trying to figure out what he was saying. Yeah, and thank you for your membership, MJ. Alan Coates said Neptune. Okay, happy. Who else we got here? Pay all these people's cost to come and sleep or play games on their phones. Yeah, they were playing on their phones. Well, look, to be fair, I sit in meetings and I work because I do it not playing games on my phones. I was at a veterans meeting the other day and I was on my phone working. I was on my phone making the Substack file, putting in a Word document to put all the links for the videos for refugees. I was doing that while I was at a veterans meeting. Also taking notes. I was multitasking. So some people are on their phones doing work, not are all playing games. I was working. Okay. Hello, Hugo Basson. Johan van Rooyen, inject me with the truth. Well, we're trying. Charging us more VAT, but refuse to cut unnecessary spending on hotels, lunches, flights, even the fat cat salaries. True. Yeah, you notice there was no effort to cut the salaries of legislators. That would have been interesting. It wouldn't save much money, but it would have been interesting. Yeah, Canada is Canada. Okay. Do you know if this memorandum will soon be delivered by hand to President Trump, Secretary Rubio? What memorandum, Jan? There's no memorandum there. Canada's complaining meth addicts will supply. Good Lord. Next, they say it arriving states today. I don't know what we're talking about. What's a TV license? While watching the budget speech, I thought about the joke of the 10 guys that pay the bar tab as they pay taxes. Defund Parliament one Ronaldo at a time. What's up with that? All right. President Donald Trump has moored Canada, Mexico, Colombia, Europe, not to mention Democrats. Yeah, he's going to obliterate South Africa. Hey, Ronell, how's it going? Do you think the DA will do as Demopal said and pull out the... No, I don't think so. I don't think it's not going to happen yet. We'll see. Good day, Pete. Mr. Sergeant Duck. They emailed my mom about it, though. Emailed her about what? Yanga, welcome to you. A sinking ship. Elijah, Richard Kuhn, Stephen Poltgeter, Slippery Pickle. What will we do without USAID money for transgender studies for baboons? Well, I don't know. You have to worry about the ones for the mice and the hamsters. I mean, if Nick is here, he's worried about his hamsters, bringing his hamsters to America. Yeah, over 2 hours. It was. Yeah, take your pills. Yeah, I'll take some pills, man. Get some antibiotics here. Here's some antibiotics. I'll take some antibiotics to fight off the budget speech. Okay. Angelique? Yeah, Daily Trading Time got me. It got me. Look, I'm tired, folks. I'm tired. Actually, I'm tired. I didn't get much sleep last night. I stayed up late to make that video about Ramaphosa talking about how important a go is to America. He's living in a fantasy world. We wouldn't be about to cancel a go and let it run out if it was so important to America. Trust me. Yeah, no, that's my fault, man. That's my fault. I got mixed up. It happens. You're right that you're wrong. It does happen, right, Sean? It's rare. Mark the date. Mark the date. You know, it's rare. Unlike Daily Maverick, that ain't fake news. I actually got it wrong. It happens when your days are busy. That's right. It can happen. How's the ANC bank rolling the country for the next 12 months when we have reports of government officials not getting salaries? I haven't seen any reports of government officials not getting salaries. Andreas Muller, good to hear some sense again. All right, good to see you there. Jean Van Eden, welcome to you. Hit the like button. Yes, please do. This thing jumped ahead. All right, there we go. We're back. Adrian Skuman, welcome to you. We are not complaining. Got you for longer. Okay, cool. There you go. Play with your tax money. Steal ESCOM money at the municipality. Chris, it feels like ANC have to piss off America more if we get the refugee program. I think you might be right about that. That might be the intent. Is that a super chat? Oh, my goodness, a super chat. Bo Smith, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for your effort and get some rest. No, I can't. It's Wednesday. Never rest. I got this, then I got Ronaldo, then I've got some prep to do for the upcoming consulting, and then this evening I've got my radio program, and tomorrow I've got the VFW meeting, which runs from about 4 o'clock when I get there and do prep work to our 5:30 meeting, from 5:30 to 6:30, 6:30, 7:30, 7:30, 8:30, and then we have a post meeting. By the time I leave there, it's 9:30, 10 o'clock, so my days are full until Friday. I did have a guest who asked to come on the program. I set up last night, and now she's begging off, so that's going to change my Friday. But Thursday, tomorrow, I have to get this set up. We have Deputy Minister for Defense and Veterans Affairs, Major General Bantu Holomisa will be on the program, and we're going to chat tomorrow. This will be, is he the first minister I'm going to have, a cabinet minister? I'm trying to think. Who have we had on here recently? We did have somebody on, but I think there's from political parties. I don't think we've had a minister on. Yeah, so I've been trying to get ministers on. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll see. I had him on already, so he'll be on again. Elijah loves listening to me to rant. Well, I don't rant much these days, just occasionally. You should see my real rants of the day. I watched a short on YouTube where Ramaphosa says they're scrounging for money. Yeah, they're always scrounging. Can't believe how the demo are protecting Hamas supporters. Oh, yeah, and you should see this whining from a black Brit who came here. Why the Brits just like me? Yeah, because you're a freaking terrorist supporter and you disparage this country. You shouldn't let people in this country talk cock about it, lie about the history. If you tell the truth about the country, but, it's anyway. Anyway, we'll get to that. Michelle likes my program. Well, thank you. I'm glad you do. It's awesome to hear. 739 people currently here at an early hour, folks. Again, my apologies. We got to start a little bit earlier here because I got cocked up on the daily savings time as I was rushing to get things done this morning. Yeah, problem on problem. I'm going to jump ahead. Hey, Freya, what's going on? Yours is the main channel I watch, so whenever I open Tube, that's cool. It's good to see it's working for you. It doesn't work for a lot of people. The critical reviewer is here. That's good to see. Amazing Yacht Destination, Reg Dog. Chris, need to ask a question. I was watching Trump earlier. I was blocked from seeing Trump, something about South Africa. I don't know what you mean you were blocked. That's not a question. You're making a statement there. What's your question? Why were you blocked? I don't know. I don't know what you were watching. I don't know when you were watching it. Is it blocked content? Like a lot of sports things, I can't watch highlights of a lot of Springboks activities because it's blocked from my region. It's stupid. I have to go through a VPN to watch this stuff. Arrival fee. Well, they've already done that in other places. The UK is doing that. I have to pay a not a visa fee, but I have to pay a fee to go to the UK. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Oh, boy. The EFF and MK will not support that budget. Yes, that's what I was watching, Jay, the press conference just before this. And that's probably why I got screwed up listening to them whine. It's not going to go well for Canada. They're not going to go well. I'm fashionably early. That's right, Pete. I'm fashionably very early. Nothing to worry about, Chris. Being early is not a crime. It is in Africa. I sat in meetings for an hour and a half for people not showing up. 2 months. That's not what the press reported, so we'll see. Can you give South Africa a sense of expenses, USA? That's not really time for that question. We're going to do the meeting here. Save that for a little bit later, Neptune. That's too hard a question to answer right now. Yanga says the government runs out of money, they will default, then we'll seize everyone else's money. Please elaborate if budget cannot be passed. It's Jan van Riebeck's fault for introducing money. Money, it's money's racist. Money, money, money. It's a rich man's world. We know they're lying. They know they're lying. They know that we know they're lying. Why is Canada? Explain why Canada's lying. Because Canada has excessive tariffs. Thank you, Micheline Swart, 14 Rand. Canada has all these tariffs on U.S. goods and services. They have artificial advantages of lower tax rates, and then they lie. They say the reason why the auto industry is in Ottawa is because they have great workers and because they. No, it's not. It's not that. No. It's that the American manufacturers shipped it across the lake because it was cheaper, and labor was 1/3 or 60% of the cost of America when they did that. So yeah. Oh, Americana is coming to. Say saw in Parliament feed was massive calling for a full government shutdown. Almost aggressive response to it. Yep. Yannicka, welcome to you. Line of the Sands in from Namibia. And Marino, it's raining cats and dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the pets of the people. Eastern Bloc Robot Cowboy. Okay. Put your meds in the correct people. Okay. Are you going to do a video on John Daniel Davidson's post on the Federalist about the refugee program? I have no idea who John Daniel Davidson is, and I don't know what you're talking about. John Daniel Davidson, author. Okay. Is it the Federalist? Don't know who he is. America's a Nation. Here's his articles. Supreme Court, Trump, drugs. I don't see anything about refugees. I don't see anything about it. So it's going to be a little hard for me to do that because I don't see anything from him. So congrats on admitting you started early. Probably the last honest person on the planet. Jokes aside, thanks for all your work. Yeah, well, I screwed up. It doesn't happen often, but I screwed up. It's not a bad thing, though. We have 11.5 million people registered voters not voting. It's more than that. Yeah, registered voters. For eligible voters, most eligible voters aren't voting. It's 43 million people eligible to vote in South Africa. Only 26 million are registered. Only 16 million voted. Yep. Okay, Chris, if I may ask your opinion, what would be South Africa not sink? Well, the ANC to be gone, BE to be gone. There's a super chat from Play 24. On the lighter side of things, let's hear your say it fast. One was, no, I'm not going to say, what's that? It was a racehorse. And here's another super chat from Angelique for 50 Rand. Oh, she's upping the ante. These tiny ones coming in. 1,000 of them add up to $10. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Okay. No, they didn't approve the VAT increase. It was rejected. Thank you for the super chats. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here, folks. You have to pay $24 for an ETSA visa when we want to go to the States. So I guess it's only fair you have to pay to come to Britain, too. What are you talking about, an ESTA visa? What is that? I've never heard of that before. Never heard of that. Well, your economy has no industrialization. It depends entirely on financial transactions in the East End of London and Canary Wharf and on tourist arrivals. There's nothing left in the UK. You don't manufacture anything anymore, including software. You don't do that either. So you need tourism more than we need it. Putting fees on people, making them apply for electronic approval when there's no visa. Stop lying. Just call it a visa. Not you, your government at Whitehall. Valerie from Vike, seriously, should the COVID relief fund not be renamed by now? Yeah, it should. The interview. What should I just talk about there, man? Not sure how the U.S. will allow 0% fee to match our trade values. I understand what you're saying, Nina. I don't know what you mean. We don't charge you tariffs on most of your goods or many of your goods. Yes, Aretha Swart, I've answered that 1,000 times. Now's not the time. The questions are there. Go to the Substack, please. It will answer to all the questions are there. Here's the Substack. Subscribe to the Substack. There's an article there. The most recent article has all the links to the videos that are specifically focused on the refugee question, and it will answer that question you're looking for there. You'll be placed in absorptive capacity where we have space for people. All right, let's get to the news. Took about half an hour to get to the news. Now it's time to get to it. All right, folks, lots of news to cover here. I've covered some of it briefly as we got started, but where the hell is it at? There it is. Okay. Budget 2.0, South Africa. Good luck with that. Did not go over very well. Okay, the rich will continue smiling all the way to the bank, says the South African Communist Party. Surprise, surprise. Thank you, Franz Fourie, for becoming a member. Appreciate it. Yeah, the commies, they just love to steal money from the people who contribute to society. And those who don't get the free rides. Look at all these tubelards, the big guts hanging out there. They're really suffering, aren't they? Fat-ass communists. Look at that. Fat-ass communists. With less than an hour before the budget, the South African Communist Party urged the government to introduce a wealth tax. Already, the money's coming from the people who actually produce wealth. No one else is contributing, so now they want to take more money. South African Communist Party Deputy National Chairperson Thulas Nexi joined protesting civil rights movements, trade unions, and lobby groups outside Parliament to reject the proposed VAT hike and demand an end to the austerity measures that have negatively impacted communities. Thank you, Brendan. So, yeah, these commies, all they want is free rides. They're fat and lazy turds. Look, it's Enoch Gondwana. The DA will not support the budget despite evidence of increased compromise and genius. What kind of is this? That's op-ed. This is listed as news. That is op-ed, despite evidence of increased compromise. No, that's not germane. Panchia. 0.5% VAT increase, marginally improved growth forecast, narrowing fiscal deficit, and greater infrastructure spending are among the major highlights, which passed on its second attempt within a month. Okay, why are we increasing infrastructure spending? I realize infrastructure is collapsing, but don't increase spending when you don't have money. Yeah, wow. Unbelievable. So the budget, it's going to be a bite. Yep, it's going to bite. Households paying income tax will be hit as rebates and tax brackets haven't been adjusted for inflation for the second year in a row. So basically, that's a tax hike. So by not adjusting it for inflation, you're paying more in taxes. Yep, you're paying more in taxes. Well, South Africa still holds the United States as a valuable partner, according to Cyril Ramaphosa, answering questions in Parliament. Yes, indeed. President Ramaphosa said the U.S. remained a strategic partner in South Africa despite current challenges. Ramaphosa remained confident relations could be restored. That's what he's answering questions yesterday in Parliament, in questions and answers, which is not something that a president does. Only a prime minister does something like that. The Allied banks of South Africa have warned Ramaphosa to stop the nonsense. Yep, South Africa must de-escalate their dispute with the United States. ABSA interim CEO Charles Russin has warned that South Africa must urgently de-escalate tensions with the U.S. as worsening diplomatic ties under President Trump threaten the rand, investment, and economic growth. ABSA is forecasting a 2% GDP growth in 2025 and 2026. That would be vice the 6.5% that you need. South Africa will continue to fall behind. That doesn't even match inflation. You will continue to become poor and more miserable as a consequence of a lack of growth. Well, apparently 2 luxury ships that have docked in Cape Town are causing all kinds of traffic. Okay, have you been to Cape Town? There's always traffic. All right. The arrival of 2 cruise ships has led to traffic congestion in the mother city. They arrived early on Wednesday morning, are expected to depart at 4 p.m., so they should be gone by now. Yeah, carrying more than 5,000 passengers, 2,000 crew members. 2,000 crew members, man, that's some serious luxury. So there's 2.5 passengers for every crew member. What kind of cruise ships are those? The MSC Musica and the Norwegian Dawn docked at 5 a.m. and expected to depart by 4 p.m. Wow. City of Cape Town Mayoral Committee member for Safety and Security J.P. Smith said traffic officials were on high alert to reduce congestion. So I'm sorry, what traffic are they causing here? I mean, do they get off the luxury cruise ship with their cars? Are these ferries? No. What traffic congestion are they causing? Ubers, Bolts, taxis, public transport? These are already on the road. How is this startling traffic? What did I miss here? Motorists can contribute to the gridlock. What motorists? There are no motorists coming in from this thing. Seriously? Give me a freaking break here, man. You guys kill me. You kill me with this stuff. How the hell do cruise ships cause congestion to traffic? What did I miss here? Honestly, I'm missing something here, guys. I'll admit it. What am I missing here? 2 cruise ships dock. The passengers get off the cruise ship. They walk, or they take public transport, or they call an Uber or a Bolt or a taxi. Those are things that are already on the road. How in the world are they causing traffic jam? Causing traffic chaos. Well, thank you, News 24, for that insightful news report. It sounds like a Babylon Bee headline. Oh, all the people in Cape Town go down to the port to check out the ships. Okay, Liesel, let's go to the port and look at the big ships. They're so impressive. We haven't seen ships like this since 1652. Let's go to the port. Oh, my. Oh, all the whites and the coloreds and the Koi and San, hey, Maggie, are going to the port of Cape Town to see the big ships. That's why we have traffic. Oh, dear God. Can you see this, man? He says, massive cruise ships cause traffic snarl in Cape Town. Really? Do they roll up on the dock and have massive wheels and roll the cruise ships through the little bridges? It'd be cool to see that cruise ship on top of the highway that goes nowhere in Cape Town. Exactly, Kelvin. Normal peak hour traffic and roadworks, most of them are at the waterfront. Exactly. They're at the V&A waterfront. That's where they disgorge them. They spent the whole day at McDonald's and Steers and oh my goodness. And the Cape Union Mart. That's where they're at, folks, in the Irish pub. They're probably at the Irish pub. That's where they're all at. Well, they're gone now. A traffic jam is caused by 5,000 people getting off the tour. How? Or are they blocking the streets? Do these 5,000 people walk all the way from there up the road to the traffic? Is it what? Well, how are they causing is my question. 5,000 people boarding taxis. Well, I don't think there's 5,000 taxis for them to order. And the taxis are already on the road. It's not like the taxis are sitting in a garage. Okay, break out the taxis. Yes, let's hire some Bolt and Uber drivers for today. Yeah, there's going to be a big surge. Yeah, we're gonna surge. Let's get those drivers out. Yeah, make sure they're do their pre-combat checks and services, PMCS. Make sure those taxis are ready, those Bolts, and have them all lined up at the port because we're going to have 5,000 people. They're all going to get one person in the car. They're all going to go. Okay, let's be honest here. Most of these people are at least 2 to a group. So worst case is 2,500 taxis, and that's assuming everybody gets off the boat. Probably 20% of people won't even get off the boat. So 5,000, that means 4,000 people get off the boat. The 4,000 people, 2 people in a taxi, that's 2,000 taxis. Even if that's the worst case scenario, 2,000 taxis spread out over the course of the morning, and that is going to snarl the traffic. I have 2,000 cars sitting around me trying to get through that damn intersection when you come down into the central business district to turn to go to the port or go up to the hill. Come on, man. What a crock. What a crock. The road in and out of town is singular and it sucks. I was in that traffic and that budget speech. Aha! Aha! Now we tell the truth. It's not the tourist, it's the budget speech. That's what I was getting at. Thank you very much. That's what... Henry, you guys act like I've never been there. You act like I've never stayed in the Victorian Alpha Waterfront, like I've never been to DHO Greenpoint Stadium, like I've never been in that area. I know the area very well. I know the choke points, and I know why the traffic problems are there. First off, it's poorly designed. You have people coming at freaking 80 kilometers per hour, and poof, they come to a complete stop right there, and it backs up right there, no matter how things smoothly they're running. And it traffic jam, morning and evening. It's a given. It's not because of the 5,000 tourists. That's horse manure. It's because of the budget. It's because of the budget. Look, I'm going to disagree with you on that one. I'm not buying that story. Not buying that for a heartbeat. 5,000 people. Even if they all took taxis, we're talking 2,000 taxis max. 2,000 more cars, that's going to jam up the Victorian Alpha waterfront where the ships are docked. It's not going to jam up anywhere. And people get in. It takes time. A few cars at a time will take off 5 or 10 cars. So 5 or 10 cars will show up at every robot. 15 max. 15 cars is not going to cause it. Have you ever come over by boat? To South Africa? No. Mauricio Rodriguez, welcome to you. Another Portuguese South African. Okay. Tanya's so sick of this crap. Sick of what crap? All right, let's get to it. Ramaphosa says that he's sending envoys to the U.S. to explain. They continue to insult us on a daily basis. We know more about what's going on in that country than Cyril does. Responding to questions Parliament over the deteriorating diplomatic relations, he said that his administration had been beaten in the apparent race to engage Trump by certain formations in the country. Cyril's got penis envy. Oh, Cyril's got penis envy that Solidarity and Afri Forum, instead of sitting on their ass, came over here, and so did the DA. Chalk one up for Jaco Kleinhans, for Flip Bice, Kali Creel, and Emma Powell. Well done. Sending envoys to smooth out ties is still our intention. When, Cyril? When, Cyril? Please tell us when they're coming. We're waiting. Oh, we can't wait to see your envoys. Who will come? Will it be John Steenhuisen? Will you send Ronnie Lamola or Naledi Pandor? Or perhaps you'll send us, I don't know, Trevor Noah. Send us Trevor Noah, Cyril. Yes, we're waiting. Let's see. This all started in January after Trump became president. February is come and gone. We're halfway through March. Okay, that's 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks. Ooh, when will you send them? April, May, June, July? When will we wait till South Africa is imploded? Good God. We will be sending envoys to the United States. Well, South Africa's trade envoys will try to cut a deal with the Trump administration. I predicted this, folks. Very good chance that South Africa will wind up with a bilateral trade agreement with the United States, provided the ANC backs off of its racist policies. South Africa is preparing a package of trade deals, which will be presented by President Ramaphosa. Trade between the U.S. and South Africa, which is the second largest trading partner behind China, continues despite Trump's decision to halt federal funding. Addressing MPs during the question and answer session on Tuesday, he noted that when other African countries were removed from access to preferential status, they were compelled to look for other markets to export their goods. It's not actually true what happened there, Cyril. Those other countries have been removed from AGOA for their backsliding on democratic governance, desperately sought to get back into AGOA, and some have gotten back into AGOA. So they didn't look elsewhere for markets. Don't kid yourself. The Expropriation Act will be used to reclaim hijacked buildings in Joburg. Oh, but I thought that we weren't confiscating anything. Oh, Trump is misinformed. No, Trump is wrong. Trump got it wrong. He's been misled by disinformation and treasonous bastards who betrayed this country. They went to America. Oh, the evil bastards. The fat bastard. Baby, the other white meat. Get in my belly. Pala pala. Baby, the other white meat. Fat bastard. Yes. Yes, fat bastard. We're not confiscating anything. Meanwhile, in Johannesburg, the government of South Africa is making plans to confiscate buildings which they forced to be vacant and abandoned by their inaction and their failure of law enforcement to protect property owners. So now that they've not protected the property owners, they're going to claim the buildings are abandoned. They're going to go in, they're going to steal them, they're going to expropriate them, they're going to take them away from the owners to get nil compensation. But I thought it was just farms. Oh my, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Oh no, they're not doing this. Can you believe it? No, they said it was never going to happen. It's misinformation. Trump is wrong. They're not confiscating anything. The government of South Africa has never confiscated anything. Oh, little people, you know so little. Oh, you peasants. You peasants, you peasants, you peasants. Ah, you peasants, you peasants, you peasants. Ah. Cyril Ramaphosa says government can now use the new expropriation law to take buildings without paying, says the Daily Investor. Wow. Made the comments during a visit to Gauteng province. It's a painful sight to go through the city center and see the deterioration. Today, you have many abandoned buildings that have either been hijacked or are not paying rates and taxes. Yes, because the owners nearly had their lives extinguished by simply trying to collect their rents or chase the scumbag out of their building. Lifestyles of the rich and famous. Champagne and caviar. President Ramaphosa will use expropriation to steal buildings from legal owners. There you go. That's a terrible thing right there. That is the Usadiso Ministries for Women and Children building. That's a government building. It caught fire and killed 77 people. Remember that? That was horrible. I remember them jumping out of there, breaking their legs, trying to get out of the building that was on fire. It was terrible. Well, you're undermining Lamola, says Juju. Juju does not like the fact that Ronnie Lamola, the incompetent foreign minister, the lying foreign minister, the guy who claimed the United States has expropriation without compensation, that's a lie, ladies and gentlemen, and I go to the receipts. The United States Constitution right here. The Fifth Amendment to the Constitution expressly forbids the lies that Ronnie Lamola told the world. The Fifth Amendment, no person shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, invoking the Fifth Amendment, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Ronnie Lamola, lying to Deutsche Welle and lying to the world, claiming that the United States has expropriation without compensation. Well, who cares if you're undermining Ronnie Lamola? He was an incompetent minister of justice. He's an incompetent foreign minister. So, EFF is complaining because Cyril Ramaphosa approached Elon Musk, a non-diplomatic channel. He did. Armed gang. Folks, this is absence. This is what happens when you allow lawlessness in the name of historically disadvantaged. We can't prosecute black criminals because it's unfair. I mean, they suffered immensely. Although none of these people were criminals in doing this actually were alive during apartheid. So that's just a crock. But armed gang extorting students at a school. Can you believe this? Yeah. They're coming up with new ways to harm South Africans. Armed extortion gang storms primary school in Cape Town. Teachers and pupils fear for their lives. Merwin Miller just gave an Australian $3 super chat. Thank you for that. Crikey, Merwin. I'll get myself a Foster's with that. Thank you so much. Okay. Armed criminals stormed a primary school in Philippi at the end of February. They demanded protection fees, leaving teachers and parents fearful. Teachers at the Zanimfundo Primary School in crime-ridden Philippi are being escorted by police officers to and from school while a private security company has been deployed to secure it. After a group of armed men stormed the school at the end of February and demanded protection money. What? Racketeers show up at a school and demand protection? What, from the students, the 5-year-olds? From the teachers? Good God. No, Donald Trump is misinformed. Things are fine here in South Africa, where we have 23,000 murders per year, despite the fact we have 1/6 of the U.S.'s population. We have 50% more murders than the United States. Oh, no, but America is evil and systemically racist. But here we have 100+ laws that are racist. But no, we're not systemically racist. No. Everything is fine here. There's nothing to see. He's just misinformed. Just misinformed. Donald Trump is misinformed. And it's because of AfriForum and solidarity. Don't you know? Oh, dear God. My son just asked, is Uncle Chris going to smack Ramaphosa? Tell him I'm thinking about it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is an op-ed by none other than Deputy President Paul Mashatile from his $28.3 million mansion that he lives in Cape Town, no doubt. South Africa's agricultural transformation is on the right path. Do you think he actually wrote this? I find it hard to believe. He said he went to Bethlehem to engage with commercial farmers. They did a tour of the Maluti Apple Pack House and the Steed Apple Farm, which are important contributors to the government's vision enshrined in the Agriculture and Agro-Processing Master Plan. Pero Ruan has just given a super chat of 988 Rand. 88. Isn't that Darrell Waltrip's number in NASCAR? Yes, but remember, the Zulu lands are also not used and can be taken back to old school Zulu. Yeah, that's true. Let's see. What else did he say here? He said, despite some challenges, our interventions have placed South Africa's agricultural sector on the right path to success. South Africa remains a net agriculture exporter, ranking the top 10 global exporters of citrus, table grapes, maize, and wool, and a significant exporter of apples, as demonstrated by this farm. The agricultural sector employs more than 800,000 people, making an important contribution to the country's labor force. True, but you're destroying the agricultural sector just like Zimbabwe did, you moron. So, I'm sorry, I just can't buy the fact that Paul Mashatile actually wrote something. That's a little hard to believe. Well, News 24 takes the time to rubbish Ernst Rhodes' conversation with Tucker Carlson. I've yet to do an analysis of it, but yeah, so let's see what they've got to say. Earlier this month, Afrikaner nationalist Ernst Rhodes appeared. Oh, now he's an Afrikaner nationalist. Okay, so he's an Afrikaner nationalist now. I thought he was a right-winger. He's an Afrikaner nationalist. But before that, I thought he was a white supremacist, according to the media, but now he's an Afrikaner nationalist. It contained many half-truths, out-of-context claims, and some alarmist disinformation. Ladies and gentlemen, News 24's Andrew Thompson says that Ernst Rhodes' conversation with Tucker Carlson contained half-truths, out-of-context claims, and some alarmist disinformation. I think he's just described News 24. Half-truths, out-of-context claims, and alarmist disinformation. That sounds like News 24. A debate is flaring over the Eastern Cape where Buffalo City is more concerned about changing the names than it is about delivering services. Buffalo City Metro has started discussions on the proposal renaming the municipality's streets, institutions, and settlements. Residents have voiced concerns over prioritizing renaming over pressing issues like unemployment and service delivery. Buffalo City. Let's just do a little investigating here, okay, very quickly. Buffalo City. Oh, that's a server error there. We don't need that. Buffalo City, Buffalo City. Just going to check into this. I'm sure that Buffalo City is in South Africa, not Buffalo, New York. Okay, I'm sure that Buffalo City was a town that was built 1,000 years ago by the Bantu-speaking peoples. Let's take a look and see. Let's see what they say. Established as a local municipality in the year 2000. 2000, okay. So it was established in the year 2000. When did it start? It has all kinds of towns, all these little towns, dozens and dozens of them. The ANC is, of course, in the lead. They got 61 out of 100 seats, and that's why they can do this nonsense. But when was it founded? So, 84% black. What was that? A super chat from Yaku Lorson. You're a legend. Thank you. Thanks for the channel. Only bringing truth. I try. I'm just trying to find... well, let's go with East London, because that's the main part of it. East London. Okay. Whoops, something else just came up. And another super chat by Merwin Miller. Thank you, Merwin. Love the $3 Australian. I appreciate that. Okay. Let's see. When does it say? John Bale, one of the 1820 settlers, surveyed the Buffalo River mouth and founded the town in 1836. There's a memorial in Signal Hill commemorating the event. The city formed around the only river port in South Africa and was originally known as Port Rex. Later, it was renamed London in honor of the capital of UK. So the port was developed by some English, then German settlers came. The settlers were responsible for German names of some towns of East London, such as Stutterheim in Berlin. German surnames such as Gering, Salzwedel, and Peinke are still common. So it was founded by white people in the 1836. So why are we changing the names to transformation? Why do you need transformation? It wasn't named by these people. The town didn't exist until the white folks made it. Changing the names is part of a service delivery. What? Changing names of places is part of service delivery. This is according to Christian Martin, chairperson, Eastern Cape Provincial Geographical Names Committee. Wow. So you must change the names. We have low revenue in the city as well as high unemployment. Why can't we fix these challenges before undergoing the name change process? Said Sivuye Ngozi. See, folks, that's the bottom line. This is a black man in East London who's stating the obvious. Why are you changing names? Why are you wasting money changing signs? Fix service delivery. People don't want these names changed. It's stupid. The town was founded by white folks, just like Pretoria. There was no settlement there. Shwane is a mystical Swana chief that no one can prove ever existed. And there was no permanent settlement there. It was founded by Andres Pretorius, named after Andres Pretorius, and founded by the truck boys. And to change names is theft of cultural history. If you want to place traditional Zulu names or Xhosa names or Venda names, or then build a frickin' city. What a crock. What a crock. What is Merwin doing here? Merwin gave 2 super chats. Operation U.S. I find it unfair that these tariffs are being levied, especially in light of the existing trade balance between our two countries. Love to hear your thoughts. Well, Merwin, I don't know what you're talking about. You've paid in Australian dollars. There's no tariffs imposed against Australia yet. So when you're paying for Super Chat, why don't you put your question in there, because I didn't see your question. I'm not answering questions right now. I'm giving the news right now. So if you've got a question, put it in Super Chat or wait till I finish the news. What's unfair there, Merwin? What tariffs? There are no tariffs being imposed against Australia. I'm not really sure what you're talking about. You paid in Australian dollars, so presumably you live in Australia. So I don't know. But yeah, please not just I appreciate Super Chats, but let's not disrupt the flow. Horrible situation. Online influencer's been murdered in Tokyo. Police in Japan have charged a man with murder, saying he was a follower who had tracked her location by the buildings behind her as she filmed herself. A young female online influencer in Japan has been stabbed to death while live streaming a Tokyo street. The influencer Ari Sato was heard by bypassers screaming help, and her live stream went dark with the sounds of emergency vehicle sirens audible to those watching. Her audience was posted puzzled and worried reactions, including urgent pleas like, "Where did she go?" Well, she's dead. Kenji Takano, 42, was charged with murder on suspicion he carried out the attack, which took place the day before in a Tokyo neighborhood popular with university students. He was arrested at the scene. He admitted to the attack, though he said he didn't mean to kill her. He said she owed her money. She owed him money. According to police, he used a survival knife to stab her in the head, neck, and torso while she stood looking into her cell phone camera on a busy street. Ms. Sato, a live streamer who had more than 2,600 followers, was filming herself as she made a circuit of major train stations. Efforts to revive her were unsuccessful. This is horrible. This is Ari Sato, the woman who was murdered. This is terrible, terrible stuff, folks. Unbelievable. I mean, this is why. So people ask about, why content creators don't give away their location. This is why. This sort of nonsense. There she is. So she was an influencer, social media influencer. Yep. She's dead now. Stabbed to death at the age of 22 on a street in Tokyo. 2,600 social media followers. And one wackadoodle went and murdered her. Well, speaking of Australia, the Albanese government is saying that Social Security payments are going to be increased to combat inflation. Australians on Social Security benefits, including unemployment, will receive a minor boost on March 20th to counteract inflation. Pensioners, job seekers, parents, and students on government payments will receive a slight increase as part of the latest round of indexation linked to the Consumer Price Index. From March 20th, a single person over 22 without children will receive job seeker payment of $789.90, including an energy supplement of $3.10 per fortnight. What is with this welfare? This is not how economies grow. Well, speaking of Australia, Chinese warships, as I reported a few weeks ago, have been threatening Australia. The unusual deployment by 3 Navy ships over the past month has prompted debate in Australia about the aging fleet and reliance on the United States. And here's where they came. They looped around Australia, threatening the sovereignty, firing live ammunition in the direction of Melbourne when they were there. Or Sydney, excuse me. They went in and out of the exclusive economic zone. These are warships. Warships. That's what the Chinese are up to. The United States will restart military aid to Ukraine, according to the media reports, though it's unclear what, after they agree to a ceasefire. Washington has agreed to resume military assistance, including intelligence sharing, while we wait for Moscow to take up the offer. Delegations from Washington and Kiev shared a joint statement yesterday announcing the proposed 30-day pause in the fighting after concluding a lengthy round of discussions in Jeddah. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and White House National Security Advisor Mike Waltz represented the U.S., with Ukrainians also present. Ukraine agreed to a ceasefire after launching war crimes attacks against citizens, against residents of Moscow, targeting apartment buildings in what is a clear violation of the Geneva Conventions and a war crime committed by Ukrainians. American whiskey motorcycles will be hit with a 50% tariff in Europe. That's a response to steel and aluminum tariffs. So the Europeans think it's perfectly fine for them to impose a 400% tariff on U.S. goods. 400% of what we charge. We charge 2.5% to European goods coming to America. They charge 10% for automobiles going in alone. Then value-added tax on top of that, making our cars prohibitively expensive for Europeans to buy, pricing all but the wealthy out of the marketplace. Why? Because the Europeans are evil. Evil. And that's why we fled Europe. That's why my ancestors got the hell out of that dicked-up continent a long time ago. It's basically an amusement park, now full of all kinds of people from the third world destroying it, imposing Sharia, and raping and murdering and plundering. Oh my. EU countermeasures could affect U.S. exports valued at $24.4 billion. They added they will still have the possibility to increase that amount to $28 billion, which would match the future value of exports affected by U.S. metal tariffs. So this is the problem. We're dealing with dishonest people in Europe, dishonest people in Mexico, dishonest people in Canada, and dishonest people, of course, in South Africa, lying about what's going on here. So the South Africans are attacking America because we could give you handouts. Impose no tariffs, but apparently we're aggressive. We're attacking South Africa. Those are total lies. The Canadians don't do their share. They are supposed to pay 2% of their GDP towards national defense. They're freeloaders, only 1.2% over the past decade, despite them agreeing to it voluntarily of their own volition when Obama was president. They still haven't met their obligations for 10 years. The deficit now, they owe us billions of dollars in defense spending. We've covered their ass with our skirts. And they have outrageous tariffs on our dairy products and all sorts of other products to keep us out of their marketplace. This cannot continue. The Chinese, the Europeans, the Canadians, the Mexicans charging us tariffs, and then when we impose tariffs on them, they want to act like little children? No, I'm sorry. It's not going to continue. So here you go. EU will propose counter tariffs of $28 billion on U.S. goods. Look, it's Ursula von der Leyen. Ursula von der Leyen, the European Commission. Well, Russia says they will consider, they're studying the ceasefire agreement, but it'll be in our terms, not American. Oh, look at this. Now the Russians are trying to be lippy. Let's see how that goes for Lavrov. Moscow officials signaled Russia is weary of the Ukraine-backed proposal for a 30-day ceasefire. Russia is advancing on the battlefield, so it'll be different with Russia. Senator Konstantin Kosachev noted in a post on Telegram, any agreement should be in our terms, not American. Okay. Let me tell you something, buddy. If you think playing this game with Trump is going to work very well, Russia, it ain't going to work. Well, Ireland, a country that's gone to the crapper, and now it's doomed to failure, what with the arrival of Rosie O'Donnell. Ireland sending their prime minister, probably begging us to take Rosie O'Donnell back. Visiting the White House amid divisions on economy, Ukraine, and Gaza. For more than 70 years, Irish leaders have visited the White House for the annual St. Patrick's Day celebration. But this year, the Taoiseach, Michael Martin, will need to present President Trump with more than just traditional gift of a bowl of shamrock. I'm very, very conscious that it's a very challenging world. Thousands of jobs depend on the economic relations between the United States and Ireland. My overriding objective is to copper fasten that for the time ahead and to aid and to protect those people who are working jobs. Well, I think your primary mission should be to get rid of all the foreigners who invaded Ireland and who are harassing and attacking the Irish. I think that should be your primary mission, buddy. Just saying. Yeah, poor Ireland. They don't have enough problems. Now they have Rosie O'Donnell. She can go run her big mouth there. Greenland's opposition party wins an election amid Trump's push for control of territory. If you're an American and you go abroad to seek foreign citizenship, you're not an American. You're a treasonous bastard. If you are a person born in another country, come here and you try to have dual citizenship, it doesn't make you treasonous. But if you're an American, you're born here, and you seek citizenship elsewhere, you're a treasonous bastard. Rosie O'Donnell. Greenland's opposition party wins election amid Trump's push for control of territory. All six parties want independence from Denmark, but they differ on how and when to get there. Country of just 57,000. Boy, those long nails that young lady has there. Demokratit, Greenland's pro-business center-right opposition party, secured the most votes in the election on March 11th. A surprise result in a closely watched race held against the backdrop of President Trump's pledge to take control of the territory. Yeah, well, the leading parties dropped significantly from 2/3 of the vote. They won 29.9% of the vote. Nalarek, which favors independence at a faster pace, won 24%. The incumbent ruling party, the Inuit Atagilik, and its coalition partner, Suamut, secured 21 and 14%. So just 36%. What the story doesn't tell you is they used to have 60%. 60%. They dropped from 60% to 36%. They got obliterated in this election. Well, inflation has calmed down. Trump's tariffs, but inflation went down. Maybe because the tariffs hadn't taken hold yet. Inflation cooled to just 2.8% annual rate in February. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Already having a positive effect, although the tariffs may push that back up. It was lower than the 3.2 expected by economists. Prices, excluding food and energy categories, rose by 3.1%. So, yeah. So inflation cooled. Of course, those nails aren't natural. Trump administration has sacked half of the Department of Education workforce. Well, get ready for 100%, folks. The Education Department announced Tuesday it was firing more than 1,300 workers, in effect gutting the agency. The move means the department's workforce will be about half the size it was when Trump took office. It could portend an effort to the administration to dismantle the department. Well, yes, that's what's going to happen. The Department of Education is going away. Going away, going away. They're eating the dogs or eating the cats. That's right. Well, the House has voted to cut $1 billion from the District of Columbia's budget. Muriel Bowser will have to do with $1 billion less. So they'll probably raise parking fees and taxes in the district. It's unclear what additional avenues remain for D.C. to advocate for reversal of cuts as the bill heads to the Senate. If D.C. is freeloaded against the American taxpayer and spewed its racial hatred for years and years and years. House Republicans passed a spending bill Tuesday and seeking a averted government shutdown that would blow more than $1 billion budget hole for D.C. Republican spending bill, which heads to the Senate, would treat D.C. as a federal agency and force the city to revert to its 2024 spending levels for the rest of the year, effectively undoing a $21 billion budget. Muriel Bowser and almost every city lawmaker warned Monday this would likely require significant immediate cuts to every department of D.C. government, including law enforcement and schools. Good. The impact is so drastic, Bowser questioned whether it was a mistake, a $1.1 billion mistake, and called on federal lawmakers to make a simple change to resolve it by restoring a long-standing provision allowing D.C. to continue spending its current budget. Republicans did not do so. Well, D.C. is out of control, and good to see. So measles outbreaks. America, we have measles all over the place. And they're blaming it on parents who refuse to get their kids vaccines, vaccine hesitancy. That definitely plays a role, but look where the measles outbreaks are taking place. Let's see where the measles outbreaks are taking place. Are they taking place in Minnesota? No. Pennsylvania? No. Utah? No. Ohio? No. They're taking place places flooded by criminal alien invaders. Measles continue to spread in West Texas and New Mexico with more than 250 people infected, many unvaccinated school-age children. They don't bother to tell you that many of them are illegals. Here you go. The outbreaks. The outbreaks are taking place in Texas, New Mexico, and New Jersey. New Jersey. Yes. Places full of criminal alien invaders. Coincidence? Coincidence? Or Joe incidents, as Chandler Bing would say. Chandler Bing. So, GOP lawmaker misgenders Democratic Representative McBride, derailing a House hearing. Transgender lawmaker of Delaware has been misgendered before by Republicans who have blocked her from using the women's restroom. The House subcommittee went off the rails Tuesday when Representative Keith Self of Texas misgendered Sarah McBride, Democrat, Delaware, the first openly transgender person elected to Congress, and abruptly adjourned the session after a colleague confronted him. This is a precious video. Precious no matter where you sit on the spectrum of how you deal with this issue. But let me find this. I know I saved that. Is it yesterday? Let me find it here. That was shocker. Come on, where's it at? I know it's here. Has it been that long ago? Give me a second here. I'm trying to find it. Maybe it's been that long ago. I don't see it here. I would have sworn I saved this. I'm not seeing it. Come on. Should have been ready for this. Sorry, folks. Okay, I'm going to just get it off of X because this was unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, X. Okay. Okay. Come on. There it is. Oh, I don't want that. That's somebody's already altered the video. These people keep altering the video. I have the raw video. Why is it all just... Come on. There it is. That's the one I want right there. Check this out. This is wild. This is a minute long, so let's watch this. This is wild, folks. This is unbelievably wild. So, okay. You're going to see my reaction on here. Here we go.
I now recognize the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ranking Member Keating also.
Okay, look, this is why this is epic. Keith Self says to Sarah McBride, Mr. McBride, and then McBride says, thank you, Madam Chair. Listen to this exchange again. He calls her a he, and he calls him a her. Oh my goodness, this is terrible.
I now recognize the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ranking Member Keating also wonderful.
Mr.
I'm
Chairman,
sorry.
could you repeat your introduction again, please?
That's out of order, by the way.
Yes, we have set the standard on the floor of the House, and I'm simply.
What is that standard, Mr. Chairman?
Out of order.
Would you repeat what you just
Out of
said
order.
when you introduced a duly elected
Out of order.
representative from the United States of America? Please.
I will. The representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Mr. Chairman, you are out of order.
No, you're out of order.
Mr. Chairman, have you no decency?
Oh, God.
I mean, I've come to know you a little bit, but this is not decent.
We will continue this.
You
hearing.
will not continue it with me unless you introduce a duly elected representative the right way.
He did.
This hearing is adjourned. I now recognize the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ranking Member Keating also wonderful.
Okay, wherever you sit on this, you got to laugh at this. I mean, first off, McBride handled it really well. So the guy says, McBride says, "Thank you, Madam Chair." Oh dear God, that's too funny. Oh my goodness. Oh, you're insensitive. You're a right winger. No, I'm laughing because I thought McBride had a great response. Mr. McBride, thank you, Madam Chair. Attention-seeking asshat jumps in there. Ooh, out of order, violating parliamentary norms. That was priceless. That was worth the price of admission, folks. Do your super chats now. This is also worth the price of admission. Another demon rat is leaving the Senate. The Senate is looking increasingly trending Republican potentially in the next election year. Wow, as another demon rat leaves, Jean Shaheen, the evil, that's not right, evil New Hampshireite. She will set off a high-stakes fight for an open seat where she's been leading political figure for decades. Yes, this evil troll has been there forever. Yes, she's leaving. The 78-year-old said interview with the New York Times was a difficult decision made more difficult by the current environment by President Trump and what he's doing right now, fixing America. Oh, she's terrible. She wants us to die in poverty. Yep. Many Republicans considering a run, including the rhino Scott Brown from Massachusetts, who moved to New Hampshire. Let's hope he doesn't get that. Republicans hold a 53 to 47 seat majority. She's the third Democrat after Senator Gary Peters of Michigan and Senator Tina Smith of Minnesota to announce plans to retire, making the party's path to majority even more difficult. Wow. So good riddance to Jean Shaheen. Goodbye. Goodbye. Farewell. Adios. Auf Wiedersehen. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. Modest Putgeeter, 20 rand super chat. Thank you for that. A Maine Republican who was censured in violation of First Amendment rights is suing. Maine Republican sues to overturn censure over transgender athlete post. Maine lawmaker has filed a federal lawsuit accusing Democrat-controlled state legislature of violating her First Amendment rights by censoring her over a social media post about a transgender high school athlete. The Maine House voted 75 to 70 along party lines to censure her, Laurel Libby, forbidding her from voting or speaking on the floor. Where do they get off disenfranchising the people she represents? They can't do that. She should sue. The ban will stand until she apologizes for the Facebook post drawing attention to a male-born pole vaulter who won a girls' state championship. She responded Tuesday by suing House Speaker Ryan Fecteau, a demon rat, in U.S. District Court of Maine, asking the court to overturn the censure. Instead of having an open and honest debate about the devastating impacts of Maine girls being forced to compete against biological males, Speaker Fecteau and his Democratic colleagues resorted to canceling and silencing me. Yep. She refused a request by him to remove her 17 February post. Yep. So this is the post another day, another instance of an unremarkable biological male athlete who couldn't win against other males dominating girls' sports. Here's her post. Yep. Let me get this picture up here. So he's unremarkable male athlete. And he competes as a girl. And wins. Over actual girls. This stuff needs to stop. Maine is out of control. Here's her post, and she's being censured for this. Her First Amendment rights being violated by the legislature, and those who voted for her are being disenfranchised. And those who didn't vote for her are being disenfranchised, but she can't vote. This is illegitimate. It must be stopped. Why the U.S. continues to kill millions of hens 4 years into the bird flu outbreak. The Department of Agriculture's effort to stamp out the virus has led to the loss of 166 million birds since it began in February 2022. Despite leadership change in the country's top agriculture and public health agencies, the government is continuing its strategy of culling millions of birds to limit the spread of disease. First hit the U.S. in 2014. Then they began rolling out a plan in 2017. During the 2014, 70% of bird flu cases were spread from farm to farm. Wow. So just wiping out our birds. Watchdog Group says that NASA is big on woke, folks. Big on woke programs. Yep, that's what they're big on. We know that. We know that. That's not a surprise. Welcome to 812 people here, 628 likes. Thank you for all the participation today. We're almost at the end of the news. Hang tight. We'll get there shortly, and I'll be able to answer your questions about things. All right, NASA's watchdog. NASA may struggle to get astronauts to and from the International Space Station. Ouch, that hurts. But here on Earth, it has gone all in on its diversity, equity, and inclusion mission report, according to a new report issued on Wednesday. Space agency paid to have anti-racist crusaders deliver talks to employees, encourage managers to practice allyship with underrepresented groups, and promote them for advancement within the ranks, according to Open the Books spending watchdog that produced a new study. Its release is timed this week's rescue mission where Elon Musk's SpaceX will attempt to retrieve astronauts from the space station. NASA's mission is too risky to get distracted by identity politics, said John Hart. Among the spending this decade was paying to have Ibrahim X. Kendi give a talk on cultivating anti-racist workplace, and a talk by Uja Iskia, who invited the Johnson Space Center's Parity Affinity Group to open up the lines of communication on anti-racism. They spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on environmental justice grants, including one grant to Colorado State University to heighten awareness of environmental justice within the U.S. prison system. Environmental justice within the U.S. prison system. What the fuck does that have to do with NASA's mission to get to Mars or get people back on the moon? Wow. Unbelievable. Now we know why they can't get people to the moon and back. Well, Saturn suddenly has 274 moons. We got 128 new moons. The objects around the ring planet are tiny, but some of them may have formed relatively recently in the solar system's history. Astronomers say they've discovered more than 100 new moons around Saturn. Wow. Possibly the cosmic mashups that have left debris in orbit as recently as 100 million years ago. The gas giants planets of our solar system have many moons, which are defined as objects anyway. It's the largest batch of new moons that they've ever discovered. Yep. Many of them are rocks only a few miles across, small compared with our moon, but they're there nonetheless. So, wow, Saturn gets a bunch of moons. That's pretty cool. Cassini space mission discovered these. Well, here's the last story I'm going to talk about today, folks. Trump wants to deport foreign students like me. Universities must defy him. By Amandla Thomas Johnson, PhD candidate at Cornell University. Place I was at speaking recently about library. Martin Williams, thank you for the 140 Rand Super Chat. Glad to be on the show. I'm glad to have your Super Chat and glad to have you a subscriber and glad to see you here. So, let's get to the story. This is an op-ed. Universities will get nowhere by facilitating the Trump administration's crackdown on pro-Palestinian students. They will only accelerate this war on woke. Okay? When I arrived to study the United States, the terrifying specter of deportation was the last thing on my mind. As a Brit, a citizen of the first world, he puts that in quotes, as if it's not a first world country, I was supposedly the beneficiary of a special relationship between the U.S. and the United Kingdom. As awful as it was, deportation happened to asylum seekers from Mexico or Haiti. Yeah, because they're criminal alien invaders with stolen identities and social security numbers. They have no business being in this country. So, yes, they get deported. In a world far removed from the snow-capped hills of Ithaca in upstate New York, home to Cornell University where I studied, or so I thought. In January, as I taught a class on African-American literature, why is a Brit teaching African-American literature? They can, but why are they? I might as well be in South Africa teaching Afrikaans literature then. I received a text message that caused me to nervously peer out the window for danger on the street below. Oh my. Agents from Immigration and Customs Enforcement had been spotted conducting raids in downtown Ithaca. I had reason to be afraid. The day before, President Trump had signed an executive order asking agencies to consider deporting foreign students like me who face disciplinary action for activism in Palestine. Yes, If you support terrorists, you will be deported. You have no right to support terrorism in our country. What the hell do you think you are? The order requires universities to monitor and report activities by alien students and staff and calls for Secretary of Education to provide an inventory of court disciplinary cases. Yes, for anti-Semitism. Mischaracterizing the anti-war protests that took place across U.S. campuses last year, Trump was quoted as saying in the White House fact sheet, to all the resident aliens who joined in the pro-jihadist protests, we put you on notice. We will find you and we will deport you. No, there's no mischaracterization here. The anti-Semitic, anti-Jew garbage that's taking place on the campus of Cornell is very real. And you can sit here and lie about all you want in an op-ed that Al Jazeera, of course, will publish, but you're a liar, you're a liar, you're a liar. Trump's words have become reality. On Saturday night, ICE arrested Mohammed Khalil, a Palestinian who led the encampment at Columbia University and transferred him to a detention center in Louisiana. Thousands of miles away from his heavily pregnant wife, remains in New York City. His status as permanent resident holding a green card did little to protect him. Of course not. Of course not. He committed crimes. You're here as a student, and he knocked up an American, so now he gets to stay? Nope. You commit crimes, you go home. Illegal occupation of a university campus without a permit is a crime. And supporting a terrorist group? No. Bye-bye. By taking unprecedented steps to punish students for peaceful activity, it wasn't peaceful. Disrupting activities, attacking Jewish students, barring them from entering their dormitories is not peaceful. That is not peaceful. I myself was suspended following the student takeover of Career Fair in September, featuring Boeing and L3 Harris, companies that have supplied Israel with some of the weapons it was used to carry out in war, described as genocide by leading human rights groups. Well, that doesn't make it genocide. Many of the 100 or so students who took part in the protests were involved in previous actions, including a major encampment that lasted over 2 weeks in occupation of buildings. But an unprecedented move, Cornell singled out 15 of us for suspension, mostly black, Muslim, Arab, and Jewish students, because the people who committed the crimes were mostly black, Jewish, Arab, and Muslim students. They weren't singled out. The criminals who committed the act, what, are you going to go arrest a bunch of white people who didn't do anything? Asshole. 4 of us are international students and could face deportation. In addition, Bianca Wakid, a Canadian Arab student who was suspended in April for leading protest campus, faces this prospect. There was no suggestion that my actions were anti-Semitic or violent in any way, but you broke the law. You participated in an encampment by your own admission. Anyway, this is nonsense. These people, it's just hardly surprising because, after all, this is America, in quotes. A country that, as the hit Childish Gambino song suggests, is steeped in systemic racial violence and overbearing law enforcement. As non-citizen black Muslims, Talon and I fall into the intersection of the U.S. deep history of anti-blackness, post-9/11 Islamophobia, and now resurgent xenophobia. Get the fuck out. If that's what you think about America, then why are you here? Why are you here taking a slot up that an American can occupy, or some deserving student from another country that doesn't hate America? Get the fuck out. Goodbye. Piss off. Fuck off. You're wanted here. Act like an ass like that. And you try to contort and pervert what you did. What you did is a violation of the law. When you break the law, you're not allowed to stay here. It's as simple as that. You're a visitor. You have to follow the laws. You didn't get a traffic violation. You weren't going 35 in a 30 zone. You didn't get a parking ticket. You didn't mistakenly not do something. You didn't make a mistake on your income taxes. You committed acts that were clearly illegal, violent, and threatening other people. So, dude, piss off. Okay, now let's get back to the chat. That's all the news stuff there. 841 people currently. 6,000 have tuned in. Wow, this early start really is paying off today. Thank you all for being here. Be sure to hit the like button. We've got 4 new members so far. And we've gotten some super chat coin that's piled in there. A bunch of little super chats. Thank you for that. I'm not going to go back all the way, folks. I'll go back a ways. Freya has dual citizenship, not by choice. Born in Germany, immigrated to South Africa. One day I applied for a re-entry visa and was told why. You're a South African citizen. There you go, Freya. Yeah. Amanda Brown is here. Good morning to you. Erica, those long nails are not natural. Yep. Why do I say Americans to seek other nationality trees? It's not allowed to get a second. No, it's not. It's not. America doesn't recognize dual citizenship. A lot of people who are in America claim they're dual citizens. A lot of them carry 2 passports, but the U.S. government does not recognize it. They've looked the other way for years for Israel because Israelis have dual passports. The Americans have looked the other way for Jews. It's illegitimate. They let them do it. And now they've been looking the other way for a long time. But it's not legal. You can't recognize. We don't recognize dual citizenship. You can't owe fealty to 2 countries. I adamantly disagree with this concept. You cannot be a citizen of 2 countries. That's bullshit. That is total bullshit. And when, what's his name, that idiot broadcaster, I can't think of his name right now, the Spanish guy, I get to vote in Mexico and I vote in America. That's bullshit. You get to vote in one or the other. You don't get to affect the 2 different countries. If you want Mexico, You want to vote in Mexico, want to vote in America? Then let the United States annex Mexico. It can be part of the U.S., then you can vote. It'll be one country. But you don't get to vote in two. Now, I said when Americans, if you're born in America and you seek a passport from another country, you're treasonous. You're treasonous. If you come from another country, say South Africa or Ireland or Poland, and you immigrate to America and you seek to retain your citizenship from your place of origin while acquiring American citizenship, I wouldn't say that's treasonous, but I would question your commitment to being an American. Why would you retain the citizenship of a country that's broken that you left to come join America and then keep that passport? What makes you more special than me? Why do you get to be a citizen in two countries and have benefits in both countries? That's horse manure. No one can owe citizenship and fealty to two countries. Countries 40 years ago all had conscription. So are you still going to serve in the Polish military and then the American military to satisfy your conscription requirement? No. That's Theodorus. That's why I say that. Does that help? Inflation will drop in the U.S. when the new manufacturing jobs will create more. We'll see. Hopefully it will. Good riddance, Department of Education. Agreed, John Graves. Scrooby Noobs. I'm kind of hoping Trump brings back a gold-backed dollar. Not going to happen. There's not enough gold in the world to back the dollar. There's too many dollars out there. I saw this finally getting spotlight of these racist ruling communists. It is, Amanda. A lot of people are talking about it now. BE must be stopped. Then VAT can come down 11.5%. VAT should be 10% max. Yep. But 11.5% is a good start. Trump does that, he'd be the best president in 150 years. I'm not sure what is he doing. I'm not sure where I am in South Africa anymore, says Debbie Fox. I agree with you. Okay, enjoy my ignorance bubble. No more BS. Neville says it's Chris personally because he is a true American patriot and believes there's nothing better than America. No, it's not just that, Neville. If I was a German, I wouldn't agree with, and a South African, I wouldn't agree with dual citizenship either. I don't agree with it. The concept is broken. It undermines the concept of sovereignty. You can't answer to two sovereigns. It doesn't work that way. That's why I don't like the European Union because I don't like the passport issuance that comes from ECOWAS. ECOWAS allows citizen countries, so the countries that were part of it now, a couple have left, but it was 16 countries before Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger decided to leave ECOWAS. So 13 countries. You get a passport that says ECOWAS passport. It's not recognized outside of ECOWAS, but it's recognized everywhere inside of ECOWAS. And so, I mean, ECOWAS is not a country. It doesn't have sovereignty. The European Union is not a country. It doesn't have sovereignty, but they issue passports. It's ridiculous. The UN issues passports, but that's for diplomatic purposes. Said Whoopi Goldberg, yeah, sent her to Ireland. Stupid question, will refugees be able to work for companies like SpaceX acquiring American? Okay, first off, truth by Willie. SpaceX doesn't require that's a misnomer. That's a misnomer. That's the claim. They keep saying that. People keep saying that. The people have to have a security clearance have to be American. In order to get a security clearance, you must be an American citizen. But do you think that SpaceX doesn't have caterers, doesn't have drivers, doesn't have bathroom cleaners, maintenance people? Of course it does. Of course it does. Those don't have to be American citizens. So, yeah, I think you can work for them. But if you are an astrophysicist, you want to go work for SpaceX, you're not going to be allowed to be on any of the projects that require clearance. So they're not going to hire you. Trump is meeting with Ireland's Taoiseach right now. Okay, cool. Remember, you couldn't go anywhere, but they flood over the border. Yep. Opie says U.S. is racist. Send her to this. Yeah. Colonel, how can you hate New Jersey? You don't like Sopranos? I didn't say I hate New Jersey. I just said New Jersey is an epicenter of illegal immigration. Look at Patterson, New Jersey. They want to call it Palestine. Spiker Hunt says, are you still standing by the world menace, old Donnie Trump? I don't know what your question means, Spiker Hunt, and why you're trolling. How about you be more specific on what your question is there? Sickly child wasn't allowed a measles vaccine, and he went through it without complications. Well, congratulations to the child. That's fantastic. But we just had a fatality from a child who died from measles. So, oh, dear God, Spiker Hunt. Grow up. It surprised me how many people can't see Trump's endgame. It's just plain as daylight. I've never witnessed such a transparent government life. Exactly. He gives press conferences all the time. All his people talk to the press. He answers questions. Everything they discuss is out in the open. He brings people out after having private diplomatic negotiations to try to talk to the press. He's very transparent. He's very open. It's also very clear what he's trying to achieve here, but they just continue to delude themselves. Well, if you go to the train station, you can see a lot of trains that don't. 10-minute trains in South Africa will probably be supplied by Bachman and Lionel. Train sets. Sean Root, she must say, okay. And people are laughing at something I said. Oh, this is the point where I did the Sarah McBride thing. Love Trump, followed the campaign, even thought it was going to be a boring 2025 election. Did not see this whole South African twist coming. Yeah, no, it's fantastic, Rain. It's fantastic. You're just effed up like us. Yes, we are, Wedmar. We are. Good comeback. Yeah, that was it. What? Look, you got to give Sarah McBride credit, man. You got to give Mr. McBride credit. That was hilarious. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Delaware, Mr. McBride. Thank you, Madam Chairperson. That was classic. That is so good, man. That's so funny. No one seems to have picked up that the government is proposing to use pension funds. Yeah, I've seen that. I covered that. His wife said he could say something. Okay. Compression on the microphone, I believe. What are you talking about? Yes, they want to take the pension. It's not approved yet. We did John Greenlee's. Scary people can say goodbye to their pensions. Yep. I'm out of order. You're out of order. Exactly. The entire town's out of order. That's Al Pacino. They are mental economy growing by 0.5%, population growing by 5%. We're losing. Mackenzie is right. No fee medical care for illegal immigrants. Erica says measles is nothing to be scared of. Neither is chickenpox, germ, measles. I disagree. Whooping cough is debilitating, and the other ones can kill. Okay, what else we got here? What is John Greenlee saying? I don't even see anybody named John Greenlee's in the chat. Where are you guys getting that from? Oh, there he is. No one seems to have picked up the government's proposing. Yeah, no. Okay. Well, I've talked about that. That's who it was. Khan says, do you have gender ID and a social security card? Nope. Nope. Don't have sex on there either. Yeah, because it's not relevant. Can I just, how the hell did the world get to this, being forced to play along with other people's with their mental disorders? It got this way because leaders of the world took their eye off the ball and let these lunatics take over. It all started, as I said, back in the 1980s, when these radicals from the 60s who grew their hair, didn't shave their legs, acted like fools, shut down campuses, did violent things on campus. Those idiots moved into education and took over our universities in the 80s. I already saw it from the time I started university in 82, was relatively balanced. But by the time I came back in 87, I already had leftists in there insinuating themselves into universities and beginning to pollute the minds of the mush who were university students. And as we moved into the 90s and the Cold War ended, the Western world was befuddled as to what to do. We had the idiot in chief, Bill Clinton, in the White House, and his national security strategy of engagement enlargement was dumb as hell. And then his foolish Somalia effort to hunt down Aidid, and the mess came there, and then the Bosnian debacle, and then this and this and that, and the World Trade Center being bombed, all of this stupidity during the Clinton administration as the world fumbled its way through the post-Cold War era led to where we're at. These people infiltrated our government, got into the bureaucracy in the 1990s. They went throughout the bureaucracy with their leftist nonsense. They already had the universities, then the bureaucracy, and then they took over the political parties. And then as we got into Obama's era, as corporations tried to curry favor with Barack Obama, a racist, what happened was that they started with their DEI bullshit to appease the racist in chief Barack Obama, who wanted to fundamentally change America. And he's done it. He's nearly destroyed America. Trump is saving it now. And then the corporations turned on America and turned on the world and started introducing woke DEI BS. And it's just got, now look how quickly they turn on a dime. When Trump is in power now and he doesn't have to face re-election, he's it, this is it, and he's changing the world. Look at how Zuckerberg and how and Elon Musk and how the tech titans, Larry Ellison, all these people in the corporate world all come kissing the ring and drop their DEI, drop their wokeness, get rid of the leftism, except for Costco and frickin' Target. And then suddenly get back on a course of normal merit-based sort of hiring. But the damage has been done. The world is in a grave situation because of this nonsense. You have leftists and communists running around screaming about inequity. The inequity is caused by their policies and their delusions, and it needs to be addressed. That's what's going on here. So that's how we got here. It started at universities, and then it filtered down to bureaucracy, then down. Now it's into our schools, our high schools and primary schools. They're teaching 5-year-olds how to perform fellatio in schools. True story. They're showing books of people giving, saying it's perfectly normal to give fellatio, for males to give other males fellatio. And for 6 and 7-year-olds in school, they have school time playbooks, and they have these little books, and they're complaining because of being banned. Oh, you're banning free speech. No, this is pornography, and you're teaching minor children pornography. 10 years ago, you would have been put in prison as a pedophile for that. But now they bring this stuff into school, and they act like it's appropriate. 70 Rand Super Chat, thank you for that. Hippity hoppity. ANC wants to take my private property. Left Europe to return to this shit show in South Africa, hoping all who desire to leave make it out. Thank you, Colonel, for reporting on our struggle. You're welcome, Get Trigger. Thank you for the 70 red. Yeah, so this nonsense, sexualizing children, they're teaching them how to rim. No one under the age of 18 should even know what the hell that is, rimming. Probably most of us should know what that is beyond 18. President Trump, he did abuse I covered that. She was at that luncheon at the White House, and he called her out, and she said, well, we're suing you. He goes, well, good luck with that. And she kept running her mouth. He says, well, I hope that you've got something lined up after politics, because you're not going to get reelected. Alt says, son had allergic reactions to shots, didn't have any, and he's 45 years old. So how did your son have allergic reactions to shots, but then he didn't have any shots, and now he's 45? I don't understand that. If he had an allergic reaction, then how did he... I don't understand. Have a look at your children's curriculum. This crap is in our schools. Yep, it is. Painting by Mika. Bye, Mika. No wonder SpaceX does most of their launches. Exactly, because no one else can do it. We got some great chicken farmers. Once there, we can recoup the chickens fast. Well, we got a great chicken farmer right here. I used to raise chickens. Rhode Island Reds, Plymouth Rocks, Bar Rocks. Read the business news summary of the budget, and they are a reliable source. Okay, ANC hates capitalism. They live like capitalists. Exactly. Never took a flying lesson. Now I identify as a pilot. Anyone want to fly today? Thank you for the super chat, Thunder. Good one, Tom. I like that. I identify as a pediatric brain surgeon. Could you bring your child to me so I can perform surgery? When my wife and I went to Twin Peaks in Orlando, we thought it was based on the series Twin Peaks. Look up. The burger was one of the best. Oh, cool. Okay. Social Security card only has your Social Security number. Exactly. Okay. Do you think the dumping of chemicals in the atmosphere by high altitude planes? No. Planes don't dump chemicals in the atmosphere. Thank you, Thunder. What are you talking about? Contrails? No, that's just exhaust. Just glad to be on the show, says Martin. Okay. All right. I'm so shocked at the level at which they're pushing it. How the F can 1% of nut jobs' feelings be more important than the rest? Yeah, exactly. Hello, Colonel and others. Welcome. Truth is valuable. Amazing how there are no dead birds all over the place. Exactly. Bird flu, but I don't see any dead birds anywhere. Exactly. We have poultry farm just down the road. I don't see dead birds being tossed out there every day. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, trans are from Uranus. Well, Tom Smith, boys have penises, girls have vaginas. If we do get... Well, look, there's nothing wrong being pro-Palestine, but committing crimes is the problem. You can have free speech. I'm not against free speech. If you want to espouse your love for Palestine, a non-existent state, then you're welcome to do it. If, however, you break the law and you're here as a guest, you can't stay. It's pretty simple. People intentionally break the law, particularly do dangerous crimes. I mean, like I said, it's one thing to get a speeding ticket. You shouldn't be deported for that. It's another thing to get something wrong in your tax return. You shouldn't be deported for that. But when you commit crimes that are serious like that, you shouldn't be here. Lynette says, if we do get refugee status, can a spouse stay longer in South Africa for wrapping up business? How much time do you have to wrap up things? I have no idea how much time you have. That'll be up to the government. Normally you have no time because normally you're not in your country. You just go. You go together. This is not unprecedented, but it's unusual. And until they give guidance, we can't tell you. I suspect that you'd be allowed to wrap up sell your homes and stuff like that, and one could go in advance and the other's coming, but that's supposition. No statement of fact. There's no information to confirm that. So that's probably why this is taking so long, because you all have weird situations. Well, yes, but I'm Lithuanian and I'm South African, but no, I'm South African, but the father of my children is Lithuanian. I have 5 kids and my husband is South African, but I was banging this guy over here, so I had these kids from him. Can I take the kids? Look, someone's got to figure all that stuff out, folks. Someone's got to figure all that out. Can we deport the ANC? No, you can't. Trump says a lot of things and then dials it back. He may pull the same thing with the refugee stuff. His priority is U.S., not randoms around the world. Well, Scrooby, fair statement, but what does he dial back? Please tell me what he's dialed back. Hey, Ronell. They think they own a place, exactly, and they're violating the law. They're attacking dormitories. They're running in buildings. They're vandalizing buildings. These are crimes, and they should not go unpunished. That's why it happens, because they go unpunished. You have to have a credible deterrent for people. Bacardi fan. I used to drink Bacardi, but it's been a long time. Economics grad says, Keynesian economics is the only thing that can save USA from a depression. I'm not being an alarmist. Insiders are panic as all their models point to the same thing. I'm not sure what your point is, your economics grad. John Maynard Keynes was a brilliant economist. I really understand what you're getting at. Be specific. The art of the deal means you bullshit and barter for a better position. Offering Afrikaners refugee status could simply be a part of that. Okay, Scrooby. If you say so. But that's incredibly cynical. And I don't think that Trump is being cynical. So, but you're entitled to that view, and you might be right. We'll see. If Trump does everything he claims he's trying to do, he will go down as one of the greatest presidents. The problem is he might get JFK'd. Yeah, let's not talk about that. They already tried that twice. Zimbabwe jump-started paying white farmers. No, they didn't. No, they're not paying anyone in Zimbabwe. They've approved it, but there's no money. They're not paying anybody. So I was wrong with all this child disease, even though I had all, even whooping cough. No, Erica, you don't have to apologize for being wrong. I'm just saying that they're dangerous diseases. The fact that some people have them, look, I never had COVID. Okay, so what do I say? It's not deadly, but people died from it. A lot of people died from it. So the fact that I didn't get it doesn't mean it's not deadly. I mean, I had chickenpox. That doesn't mean chickenpox isn't a terrible disease. A disease gets reactivated later in life and you get shingles. That's horrible. So particularly somebody that's got Roche, like I got, very susceptible to it. That's why I got the jab, to protect me against it. Of course, there was no efficacy in it, so they came up with another one. I've gotten that one. Hopefully that works. No, Erica, anecdotal evidence like the lady's talking about, her son is 45. I didn't understand her point. Just because someone has a situation, look, I mean, these are horribly debilitating, disastrous, and deadly diseases. They simply are. Otherwise, we wouldn't have spent billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars developing these things to protect people against them and eradicate these diseases. We had polio nearly eradicated, but it was the Muslims who screwed the world over. Nigerians refusing to get vaccinated went to the Hajj and spread the crap all over the world, and it came back. Anyway, no, you're not wrong, Eric. You don't have to apologize. No reason for apologies. People have anecdotal experiences. I didn't have COVID, so that must mean it's not deadly. Well, no, that's not true. It's true that I didn't have it, but it's not true that it's not deadly. Postmodernists discourage the West, indeed. The budget got rejected, Rhaegar. I'm going to talk about the budget again here shortly, so don't leave, folks. I'm going to talk about the budget here in just a few minutes. Oh, this thing's closed on me. Stupid YouTube. I've been sitting here thinking my stream was live, and it's not. Okay. My studio. The stream is live, as far as I know. You guys haven't told me it ended, so. Okay. Oh, we're up to 900 people now. Wow, we're going to cover more of the budget here in just a few minutes. We already did the news, but now we're just listening to the chat, and I'm answering questions. But I'm going to go back to the budget. I've got some comments from it. I watched this Parliament today. It was a comedy show. Yeah, it was pretty sad. Distributing condoms to creches in the U.S. I hadn't seen that, okay. That seems a little bit odd. Okay. Listening while I'm whipping up egg rolls, okay. No, he bought the Tesla. Elon didn't give it to him. Maybe, okay. It works like double jeopardy. If something is already stolen, you can't steal it. What's a rim? Economics grad, I'm not going to describe what rimming is. So if you want to discover what rimming is, look it up. Look up, do a Google search, say rimming sexual practice. You need to look that up. I'm not going to do that on air. Yeah, you're better off not knowing. Exactly. Don't Google it. Yeah, it's pretty clear the South Africans don't know how to Google. That's for sure, based on all the questions I get. Thunder. Oh, Thunder gave a $20 Australian super chat. Thank you, Thunder. That's what that was. I didn't get a chance to do that. I finally got around to it. Thank you for that, Thunder. Dawn Fisser, welcome to you. Shawnee, don't walk on my lawn. What did Reg Dodd say? Reg Dodd said, okay. More worried Chris give me a bitch slap and maybe drop 50 push-ups. Playing will turn into doing. Yeah, exactly. Amanda Brown, my daughter was adamant that she'll get answers wrong rather than agree to gender being determined by how you feel. And yes, they got a full-on how to perform fellatio lesson. Exactly. Who the hell is teaching children how to perform fellatio? That's insane. I'm sorry to hear that, Amanda. That's why people are homeschooling. Okay. Edward Smith says, you take COVID shot. I'm just asking. Well, that's my business, Edward. That's a personal thing. That's nobody's business whether I took the shot or not. But what do you think? Major Dad. That was a great show. What else we got here? Yeah. It's a fucking goat. No, baby, it's just a goat. No, it's a fucking goat. ANC saying they are working to correct with U.S. ANC hopes it will fade. Nothing will happen. Well, it's not going to fade. They're screwing up big time. And the fact it's not going to fade, that's why Trump did this. After they insulted Trump in Parliament with Julius Malema's question session last week, he put this out on Truth Social. There's no policy here, but this is meant to send a warning shot to the ANC. Trump is still paying attention. He's just busy with other things at the moment. Judea, correct. Named after Philistines. Punishment for Jewish revolt. Correct by the Romans. People do work from home in the USA. Lots of people work from home. My big secret is I'm an amputee that doesn't have a prosthetic I can wear. Will scupper my chances. What the hell would that have to do with being a refugee? Nothing. Social Security is like a forced retirement fund. You work USA. No. What do you mean forced retirement fund? What do you mean by that? Is it confiscatory? Yes. They steal money. They steal about 13% of your income. You pay 6.25%. Your employer pays 6.25%. It's 12.5% of your income is stolen to put into a Ponzi scheme to fund illegal, well, people who steal Social Security numbers, illegal aliens, and people who never contribute to the system with Social Security supplemental who are disabled in this country, and other people get payments. So my money goes to pay for other people so they have money to live off of, which is unfair and unjust. I could have taken that money, invested it, built myself a huge nest egg, and then lived quite well in retirement. Meanwhile, they've robbed it from me on the promise that I'll get money. So if you mean forced fund, yes, it is. It's confiscatory. They confiscate your wealth. They confiscate it. Magda Lawrence, welcome to you, if that's what you meant. Lisa Alwed, whoop, that jumped up there. Is it Lisa or Liesel? Sorry. God bless it. I thought I was caught up. I'm not even caught up yet. Man, it jumped a lot. There it is. Okay, I live in Eastern Cape where the name was changed and all the locals, black, white, still call. Yeah, exactly. That's what they'll do. ANC doesn't want to take responsibility for the stagnant economy, correct? They're trying to get me to take a memorandum. Okay, what do you want me to do with the memorandum? I don't work with the Trump administration. Jonathan Foree loves the channel. It's to the point. Well, thank you for that. People USA is shedding light on South Africa, and that's what's most important. That's right, Amanda. That's what's most important here. That's the most important thing. Why do you think that they're lying about Trump and they're lying about America and, well, America this, America that? Yeah, because they're trying to hide their failures. Look, I'm not anti-ANC. I mean, there were people in the African National Congress with good intent. The problem is that the party is run by people who don't care about South Africa. All they care about are caters. That's the bottom line here. I get attacked. Well, all you ever do is say bad things about the ANC. Well, why don't they do something positive? On the rare occasions they've done something positive, I actually compliment them on it. But it's so rare. It's so, and they won't give interviews. They won't give anybody interviews except the captured media. Nobody on non-traditional media gets interviews with the ANC. They won't talk to you. They must have a policy forbidding it. They're like John Steenhuisen. I have a post, the drag queen that was angry about Drag Queen Story Hour. She had a pink wig on her head, and I wrote, if she knows this place, candy floss on his head. Also in a wheelchair and have diabetes. Does anyone know how it works? Get the chance to move over? Well, I've been terrible. I'm just afraid I'm going to yell at him. What do you mean how it works? Your question doesn't make any sense. I don't understand that. How does it work? What do you mean? How do you get on a plane? What do you mean? What are you asking? Are you asking, are people going to give you money and take care of you? Is that, ask your question, Evan. And I'm not attacking you in case anybody thinks I'm attacking you. You have to ask the question. How does it work? How does what work? How does the sun turn? That's not a real question, my friend. Ask us your question. What are you asking? Trump dialed back death, an assassination attempt, and still standing strong. Yep. When there's a threat, it's a possible personal sanction. Maybe it's motivation to try and salvage a bad relationship. Well, nothing's going to happen. ANC also says South Africa must strengthen ties with China. Exactly. And meanwhile, they're meeting with Cuba and with Iran and publicizing instead of just keeping it to themselves. Yaku Brit says, I see a lot of videos the U.S. is heading for recession, resistance towards Trump. I see the market. Well, no, it's not true. It's inflation's just come down by 2.8%. down to 2.8%, not by 2.8%, but down to 2.8%. It's a significant drop in inflation over what Biden, and that's before any of these tariffs take into effect. So heading for a recession. Well, there are a lot of people who have been sitting fat on government jobs are going to be unemployed here shortly, but there's 13 million jobs in the private sector. So unless they're lazy, they should be able to find work. So that will have a short-term impact, but headed for recession. Could very well be headed for recession when the Europeans are charging us 400% tariffs on goods that we sell there, vice what we charge them coming in this country. But it's the media, including the Wall Street Journal, being irresponsible and trying to drive us towards a recession. It's anybody's guess what can happen. I think a lot of these people are going to back down these tariffs and things are going to go quite well. YouTube kicked me out of the stream. Well, Sean, it keeps happening to everybody. My thing crashed a little while ago. I had to restart it. Category is unprotected speech, and speech that is both directed, inciting, or producing imminent lawless action is likely to incite or produce such action as unprotected. Well, that's because that's not free speech. That's criminal act. You can't commit crimes with your speech. Yep. Research in motion. That is not the rim I'm talking about. It's not the BlackBerry. It's not the one. One thing is acclimating. You say climate's going to be different. Different air, so we'll be tired there for a little while. What do you mean different air? It's the same planet. What will be seen cannot be unseen. Using the White House as a backdrop for Tesla is in bad taste. I disagree 100%. Trump works at the White House. He lives at the White House. He bought a Tesla. He had it delivered to his home. That's his prerogative. Biden has done similar things. Advertising his diapers, adult Depends, and and his ice cream favorites. Now, if you don't like it, that's too bad. That's how it is. That's what he did. It's his prerogative to buy the vehicle. He bought the vehicle. And he bought the vehicle because of the actions of domestic terrorists who are attacking Tesla locations and dealerships, torching Tesla trucks, causing unwanted damage, and leftists who are trying to boycott the company because they're upset that Elon Musk is making recommendations on where the U.S. government can cut back on ridiculous, outrageous spending, and that hurts their feelings because their protected subsidies and little protected pet projects are being attacked. So it's perfectly fine for Trump to do that. If you don't like it, that's unfortunate for you, economics grad, but it's not a bad thing. Worked through the lockdown, never got Rona, had family. I traveled all over the world during the lockdown, all over America certainly, and I didn't have it. Who is Google and who does he support? Hey, Charles, I know you're being funny. I miss a keyboard. Well, then get a phone, get a laptop. Expression of intent to commit an act. Okay, what are you guys going on about that for? America is a nation, not an idea. We don't want Afrikaner because he's white. We want him because there's many cultural ties to America. Who said that? That's bullshit. America is an idea. It is an idea. It is a nation, but it's a nation founded on an idea, not on ethnicity. So I don't know who wrote that nonsense. Edward Smith, what's going on? The ANC is running it to ground so they can pay China back. Hey, Gamo, what's up, man? Did you see the op-ed on IOL stating that South Africa has exercised its sovereignty by kicking Taiwan out of Pretoria? Or is so much country nonsense? Well, they're actually in violation of the Vienna Conventions. In violation. No, I didn't see that. I'll have to look for that on IOL. So let me get to IOL and look for that. Thank you for that. It'll be something I'll comment on. IOL, Taiwan. I'll still search for Taiwan. Bushiri and his wife are ordered to be extradited to South Africa for rape and financial crimes. Oh, was he in Malawi? He was hanging out in Malawi. Okay, I don't see that. So let's just do Taiwan. On the IOL. Let's see if it comes up. Nope, nothing comes up when I search for Taiwan on IOL. No, I didn't see it. Thank you for keeping the news, Rudy says, and keeping it real. You're welcome. I know you got the COVID shot because you traveled during the time we needed vaccine passports. I could be wrong. You are wrong. I didn't travel internationally when I was forced to show anything. Whether I got the COVID shot or not, I refused to produce evidence that I had or had not had a COVID shot because it was a scam. So I didn't travel internationally in that time frame. Once that was eased in 2022, I resumed international travel during COVID. Yep. So you are wrong. You are wrong. With a link, it's about South African comedian, comedy news. Okay, thank you for that, Kevin. Appreciate that. What a joke, a budget speech. It was listening to stand-up comedy. Yep. Okay. Rory Lowry says, hi, Chris. Thank you for the news. Our home has become Chris Wyatt's household. Well, that's very kind of you, Roxy. I said Rory. Roxy Lowry. Sorry. Wonder what the Dems are going to think of now to attack Trump after inflation numbers coming low. They'll blame him for egg prices. They already did that. He was in office for 5 days. You haven't brought down the price of egg. He was in office for 10 days. He didn't end the war in Ukraine. Seriously? I said what as I was shocked about deflation. Oh, no. Gotcha, Edward. Yeah. Rohan Odendahl, no, 3 Mile Island has not started up again. However, they have got authorization to restart reactor number 2 to provide electricity for Microsoft server farms, which they're building here. Ranger Jakes, I'm doing well. All right, here are the comments from the budget speech for South Africans, because I knew you want to hear about that. All right, so DA leader John Steenhuisen, before the meeting even took place, said the DA will not support the budget in its current form. So the DA's out. So that takes the ANC down by 20+%, taking them, well, not in good shape. Enoch Gondwana says the government will save money by providing less debt relief to Eskom. So it's going to save $20 billion by not bailing out Eskom, which means that your tariffs are going to increase. So that's a zero-sum game. Gondwana says the government will save money. I already read that. Okay, he said that sovereign debt's a major problem. Debt service costs will amount to 389 billion rand in the current fiscal year. That's 22 cents of every rand that they raise in revenue spent to pay off the debt. It's more than what they spend on health, the police, and basic education. Yep. Well, we got the same problem here in America. Drunken sailor spending has put us to the point where we're spending $1 trillion a year on paying off our debt, which is more than defense. He got applause when he talked about giving handouts. Yeah, he said that public infrastructure spending over the next 3 years will amount to more than $1 trillion rand. 402 billion for transport logistics, 219 billion for energy and infrastructure, 156 billion for water and sanitation. He said passenger rail service is improving. He wants the commuters at major hubs to be able to catch a train every 10 minutes. So he explained the VAT. He said, honorable members, we thoroughly examined alternatives to raising the VAT. We weighed up the policy trade-offs involved, including increases to corporate and personal income taxes. Increasing corporate or personal income tax rates would generate less revenue while potentially harming investment, job creation, and economic growth. And he's spot on there. South Africa's corporate income tax collections are already higher than most of our peer countries. He adds that South Africa's top personal income tax rate is already high and the state can't take on more debt. All true. He's in a tough spot. He went on education saying that salaries constitute 76% of education budget. 76% of the money they spend on education is spent on salaries, not on actually educating the kids, not actually getting computers or books or facilities or abolition units. 76 cents of every dollar pays teachers' salaries, many of them unqualified. That means only 24 cents of every 100 rand, 24 rand of every 100 rand of their budget is left for funding school infrastructure, meals for learners, and stationery and textbooks, among other things. Yep. He says that 19.1 billion has been added over the medium term to keep approximately 11,000 teachers in classrooms. But what about the 19,000 that are dropping off elsewhere? And then he talked about grants, handouts. He said social grants have been allocated for 284 billion rand. The old age and disability grants have been increased from 130 rand to 2,315. The child support grant goes up by 30 rand to 560. The foster child care grant has been increased by 70 rand. He said the COVID-19 Special Relief of Distress, SRD, will be extended until March of 2026. 35 billion is going to cost you. And defense, he said that another 9.4 billion has been allocated to fund the Defense Force and correctional services. Over the medium term, 5 billion has been allocated to the Department of Defense to support their participation in the Southern African Development Community's mission into Congo. So they're spending 5 billion rand to put South African troops in the Congo to die. To what end? 5 billion rand. Why are you spending that money to send them to Congo? Bring them back. They have no business being there. That's 5 billion I can save you. His address was long by historical standards, but he wrapped up by quoting a communist. Yep. Amilcar Cabral. Cape Verdean, Guinean. Always bear in mind that the people are not fighting for ideas for the things in anyone's head. They are fighting to win material benefits, to live better and in peace, to see their lives go forward, to guarantee the future of their children. Now, this is what a communist says. But people do fight for ideas. People fought for the idea of America, for liberty. And we want our liberty and our freedom from a tyrannical monarch in England. So people do fight for ideas. Amilcar Cabral, the communist, was wrong. But communists usually are wrong, so that shouldn't surprise anybody. Evan Terblanche, what's up with you, man? What's going on there? Okay, they need to limit the child support grant to 2 or 3 kids. They need to eliminate the child support grant. Why are you paying people money to have children? That's stupid. South Africa doesn't have a negative growth rate. It's not even a reasonable means to prime the pump to increase population. Your population is growing. There's no need for this subsidy. No need to give money to people to have children. It's asinine. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's counterproductive. All it does is encourage people to pop out more kids that they can't feed, and then more grants. I wholly disagree with the concept of Kindergeld. It's the dumbest thing the German government ever did. It mostly goes to foreign nationals who pump out 8, 10, 12 kids, and Germans pay for that. And then they just outpopulate the Germans, and it won't be Germany in a couple of generations that quickly. Yep. Okay, the idea of transport is the 3-wheel ambulance motorcycle. Yeah, I remember that. My wife works for a school in Midram. They are looking at paying the cleaners between $25,000 and $30,000 more than teachers. I'm not familiar with that story. They're a hot fault. You mean they're gonna? So if you made $50,000, they're gonna pay the cleaner $75,000 or $80,000? Is that what you're saying? Hi, Chris and all. Does anyone know why the stupid customs South Africa confiscated that I ordered from New York? I have no idea, Adrian. How would I possibly know about that? Other than I can tell you that customs is corrupt in South Africa. When I shipped some sachets of pumpkin spice latte to Ronaldo and some hats to other people in South Africa for the Trump campaign in 2020, I paid $325 to ship it DHL. It got there in 2 days. It arrived 2 days later in Cape Town, and then it sat there for 6 weeks while they demanded approximately 5 times the actual value of the goods in a fee to get in the country. They're just thieves. So, Adrian, that's probably why. I'm sorry that you can't get your medication. That's a shocker. If you lived in a real country, I'd suggest you contact your local politician and or the Department of Health and Human Services or Health Department of South Africa, but that's not going to get you anywhere, so I can't even recommend that. Greetings from Zambia, Neil Kruger. You're welcome for the valuable information. I know I do programming. Trust me, it changes calculation. Not much code, but the guys doing it change arms and legs for it. Charge arms. What are you talking about? What did Amanda Brown say? Sometimes you guys chat with each other, and I'm curious. Changing VAT means reprogramming invoicing systems. Cost and inconvenience is immense. Now we may have to make... No, that's not that hard to do in the 21st century. It's not as hard as you think it is. Chris Wyatt, is it just me or does the children grant look like a way to create child soldiers? No, not child soldiers. No, I don't agree with that, Chris Peter say. It's just a way to, to encourage people to be irresponsible. YouTube is geo-captured. I suppose. The problem comes in where stopping the grant will result in millions of orphans starving and dying kids abandoned by so-called parents. Well, then what you have to do is not let it be for more kids. Have a certain date. Pick a date. A year from now, your child is born, you're not going to get the money. There you go. Dylan's off to work. Just got off work. Did they decide a budget? No, they didn't last time I checked. Let's go back and double check on it budget. See if they came up with it. It wasn't passed. Yeah. Wasn't passed. So the debate. I'm looking to see what it says here about whether it got passed or not. He was able to deliver his budget speech after signing off the cabinet. It's not a done deal. The DA doesn't support it. The ANC needs a majority to pass it in Parliament. Yep. So it's not done yet. Very extensive report. They updated this report quite a bit here in News 24. They have a habit of doing this. Okay. With a hatchet buried over hot mic, Gondwana gives SARS commissioner his billions. How do you have the energy to keep up all this double streaming? You must be on some of Colombia's finest or something. No, I don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. What does it mean if the budget's not passed? Well, technically it means the government has to shut down if they don't have a budget. People complain but still vote the same fools back in government. Yeah, all over the world. Ormagon says it gets confusing with people chatting. Yeah, it's I can see that. Angel Biker, it has to go back to Parliament on the 2nd of April. There you go. Never missed a budget until the so-called non-important U.S. aid was taken away. That's right. Funny that, Dylan. Oh, it's only 17% of the HIV funding. We don't need that. America can take it. We are a sovereign nation. We will not be threatened. We will not be bullied. Yes, indeed. Normally I would be on right now with Ronaldo, but the thing is, folks, that I started early, and it's daylight savings. They've been overpopulating since forever. I believe it was planned to be sure they are majority someday. Could be. Sorry, I don't understand politics. What's your understanding on the part of the budget in beginning reference pension funds? Well, that's not politics per se. That's finances. I don't understand what your question is. The pensions. Well, they're floating the idea of raiding your pension funds. This is why the expropriation without compensation was passed. While all these people are talking about land and farmers and paying attention to that, notice already the government has announced that they're going to confiscate buildings in Johannesburg that are abandoned. They're abandoned because the government didn't protect the property owners who were chased out by slumlords and by squatters. And then they tried to evict them, and they were prevented from doing it by South African law. So now they claim the buildings are they're abandoned, they're not paying the taxes, so they're going to confiscate them in expropriation without compensation. Well, expropriation without compensation is for property, not for land. And property includes Krugerrands, Bucky's, jewelry, houses, flats, apartments, all those things, even your clothing. That's property, not land. And the Constitution expressly says that property is not simply land. So your pension funds, your bank accounts are all available for them to confiscate. So they're floating the idea of taking money out of your pension funds. Now, they're going to say they're taking it out of state pension funds, but they're going to take it out of everybody's pension funds. That's what they're talking about. Does that clarify it? People's nest eggs, the last-ditch desperate move. Yeah, well, it is a last-ditch nest. That's what they're going for. There's nothing left to go after. So much minerals, we could have been the richest in Africa. Yep. Shut it down. Those fat cats can afford to eat less donuts on taxpayers' dime. Has anyone done the calculation of money allocated? Number of people infected enough to buy each one a Tesla. Well, so the U.S. is spending $365 million this year. Okay, $365 million divided by 8 million people with HIV. That's $45.62 per person per year by the U.S. alone. They claim that's just 17%. So they say that they're spending roughly, so $50 per person, 5 times that. So $250 a year is what they say they're spending on HIV. So it's not as much as you might think it is. It sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot. Yep. Okay, I need to fix something really quick because I didn't realize we're still going to go this long. Let me see. Customization. I'm going to redirect us to that Ronaldo stream after this if you want to go there. Ronaldo needs a lot of help. He's got a small channel. He'll be showing up here soon, no doubt. Ronaldo. There we go. So I've set it up so we'll be redirected to that after this. By the way, thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate it. I'm getting a bunch of messages here on my phone. Let me see what these are. Missed phone call. That's probably a spam call. And let me see. It was a spam call. And text messages. Hillsdale College. Okay, that's not helpful. I don't need that. Hang on a second here. All right, so yeah, they stole my pension 17 years. They stole it 17 years ago, or they stole it for 17 years? I don't understand what you're saying. Parliament is in a tent already. Now they just need the lights and candy floss and maybe a trapeze artist. Maggie says, I hope you're well. Thanks again for your time and effort. You're very welcome. My pleasure. You guys pay me back with all the viewership. With the super chats are fantastic. That really does help. That's going to go a long way towards helping pay for some of the work I do after I pay Uncle Sugar the taxes I owe them. But thank you for that. But the subscriber base and the viewership is really, really what's awesome. We're at 9,300 people. Could we get to 10,000 viewers on this live stream before it ends? That would be awesome. We had 38,000 when I announced the refugee program on the 7th of February, but this is just a regular news program. It's just amazing how many people are showing up. Pretty cool. So I'm excited about it. Good to see you all here today. I'm not sure. I started early. I'm not sure why people tune in. Maybe because of the budget thing. That's why they tune in. but the budget's a mess. Why am I not getting... There we go. All right, so we're still climbing. We're 56,491 subscribers. It's a slow slog of late, but we're still trying. We're still trying. We keep growing there. Flip-flop politics, yeah. Fear for my pension. I understand that. Well, look, folks, I mean, look, I made this realization many, many years ago in America that looking at where we're headed on the fiscal cliff, I'm talking about, these are things I thought about 30 plus years ago. I realized 30 years ago that I might never see a penny in Social Security by the time I reached Social Security age, which technically for the early payout I could take in 2 years, but I'm not going to do that. But for full pension, I have to wait another decade before I can take the full Social Security amount. And I always thought that I would never see that. It would be means tested. In other words, if I had income that I saved and invested, I would be punished for having done that and get less because I have more wealth. That was my expectation 30-some years ago plus. So I never counted on Social Security ever receiving a penny of it. I never counted on even my, well, not never, but about 10 years ago, I realized that they don't like paying our pensions for military. And I was already eligible for military pension 10 years ago. Well, excuse me, I say 10 years ago. More like, at this stage, 15. Back when Barack Obama was president, I realized that they hated the military and they're going to try to take our pensions away and limit them. So when I saw that back around my 2000 time frame, that's a good 5 years before I retired, I said, well, even it was before that. When did I actually decide this? Oh, I know what it was. It was about 20 years ago. Sorry, it was 20 years ago. Get my story straight. When I was at the Pentagon and these admirals and generals, I was waiting for South African officials from the SANDF to come over and Ministry of Defense or Department of Defense to talk to our folks at the Pentagon. I was in a room with these Americans, and these generals and admirals were bitching about paying retirement and benefits because the Congress kept allocating more benefits for people because they felt guilty about Iraq and Afghanistan. So that's when it was. That was around 2003, 2004 timeframe, so over 20 years ago. At that point, I could have retired already, but I wasn't retiring. And I realized that at some point, they're going to come after our military pensions and try to take them away from us. And so from that point on, I didn't count on a military pension. Now I do now. I rely on it. That's how I live off of it because I earned it over 36 years. But the point is that I made plans to save and invest so that I could survive even if I didn't get Social Security, even if I didn't get military pension. And so I did on my own. I took responsibility for my own retirement. So I have a nest egg that will take care of me if those things disappear. Life will be frugal, but I'll survive because I plan for the future. But what we do is we punish the people who plan for the future. It's stupid. The one thing I did count on, which turned out to be a lie, was as a retiree, particularly as a combat veteran, I'm supposed to get free medical care. I don't get free medical care. I have to pay insurance for it, and then I have to pay for co-pays for every visit I make. It's such a scam. It was supposed to be free for life, and I get no dental care. This is terrible. So those things, that's been a huge surprise for me. That's cost me a few $1,000s a year, that expenses that I had not planned on having. And it's lowered my quality of life by having to pay for those things. But such is life. Such is life. Can't really do anything about it. Shop around for pet shipping agents. Well, it's not cheap. I don't know what quote you're going with there, but I've shipped pets to and through South Africa, and it's expensive. Costs to ship a dog from South Africa to the USA. All right, so from a few thousand upwards to $6,000. Yep, average range anywhere from $1,000 to $6,000 for pet shipping services to the U.S. 1,000 is 20,000 rand. So yeah. Well, I've got my pension, yes, but I mean, it's and actually I've done better than most people because I stayed in so long, so I get a higher percentage. But they're eating the dogs or eating the cats. Yep. 7,000 for dogs. Last quote you got. That's kind of high. It's a very big shame that the serviceman has to pay for medical. Yeah, no, it's not right, especially after having developed chronic debilitating issues that are a consequence of your service. It should be free. From South Africa, Netherlands are back 60,000. Okay, 315,000 to 2 dogs. Yep. That's who I should contact. I should contact Pet Shipping Service in South Africa and ask, how many inquiries have you been getting? That's a good indicator of what's going on with the refugee program. How many? Okay, so there's 884 people here. Let's do this now. I haven't done this in a while. Start a poll. I'm just curious. Would you? Poll is out. Please vote on it, folks. Not sure if my husband should rather get his pension away from government employees' pension. I don't understand that question, Loretta. Calvin Fundamental, thank you for subscribing. Not too bad if you're on a pension and own no property or more than 17,000 savings you can period aside. That's great. Huh? Savage Daughter, what are you talking about? Wow, dog, that's 120,000 rand. Yeah. Yep. Expensive. 7,000 for my dog if I do everything myself. Yep. He paid a fortune to take his dog to Australia and the dog ran away. It is crazy. You guys love your pets, but, you know. By contrast, when I shipped my cat from Tunisia, put the cat in the car, got in my Volvo, got on the cruise ship, went across the Med, landed in France, drove up to Switzerland, and that cat, because I had the cat facing backwards in the kennel, screamed the whole way. Well, actually, not backwards, but it was too low in the back seat. Couldn't see what was going on, just the movement. Oh my God, it was like a homicide was being committed. Finally, I pulled over to a rest stop after listening to that crap for like an hour and a half. I wanted to choke that cat to death. And I put some suitcases in the back seat, and I lifted his kennel up so he could see. And then, just like that, Prince was like, he was chill. So then I drove to Switzerland, stayed overnight in Switzerland, kept him in the kennel, let him out and do his business. Then drove up to Germany. And then when I shipped him from Frankfurt, it cost me $75. $75 to bring Prince back into America. And when I got to the airport, just picked him up and went from there. Yep, $75. Jared says, the problem is you accept refugee status, the chance of you being able to come back to South Africa is slim as you're literally fleeing the country. Well, that comment needs to have some context placed on it, Jared. If you do flee as a refugee, you will not be allowed to return to South Africa except under extreme circumstances like a family member dying or critically ill or something like that, and you have to get permission. However, your chances of coming back are not slim because if you become an American citizen after 5 years, you're an American citizen. You can go back to South Africa anytime you want. So your point is valid, but it needs context, okay? Because people are going to interpret it incorrectly. Don't think I'm revealing a big national secret, but if you visit the UK with an illness, you can just use our NHS. Oh, I'm aware of that, Keith. I'm aware of that, but I wouldn't want to use our NHS. By the time I get care, I will have died or from kidney failure or would have gone home, so. Half of South African Parliament, a bunch of what? I stand corrected. Half of you're not a bunch of donkeys. That's funny. Leaving plan. Pack a duffel bag, leave keys in door and go. My answer is no because I have an education I need to complete. Okay? It costs enough money in the U.S. to board a pet for vacation. Forget shipping it. Actually, it doesn't cost that much. I mean, I boarded my cats for like $10 a day. I don't know where you're boarding your pets at. I'm not going to journal. Show review tomorrow. Okay. Hey, Sylvester Stallone's back. I haven't seen you in ages. Just checked what they took down the article I was talking about. It says, yeah, exactly. They do that all the time. They do that all the time. You've got to save the page on your drive and or make a screen capture. That's what you got to do with these things. And I find it all the time. It's become an endemic problem with News 24 when they change their stories. It's long been a problem with IOL. So you got to watch it. $395 votes. That's it. 900 people here. Only 300 people voted in the poll. No one's tracking you, folks. It's an anonymous poll. Just answer the question. Answer the question. Firmly believe that South African friends moving to the U.S. will be a major asset to the USA. No, Joe. We're talking a few tens of thousands of people. Not going to have. It's a drop in the bucket. 330 million people. The most vibrant economy. The most free country in the world. It's a drop in the bucket. Yeah, it won't hurt, but it's a drop in the bucket. Tomcat buzzing the tower. What are you talking about? Where are you at, Arno? Are you an air traffic controller? Your budgie can fly. Would love to take my kitties, but I don't know if they will survive the trip. Well, Roxy Lowry, you don't know that they won't let you take your pets. I mean, that's I don't know that what you're saying has validity. We don't have an answer on that. But, I mean, people typically who are refugees don't take pets because, I mean, you're not taking pets from a camp in Kenya or Chad. But this is an unusual situation within country refugee status. You're not really refugees. You're just being granted that status. So, anyway, almost 80 and doing 10 times more than people half his age. Who's tired? Something sniff about the number 19 for you? 19? Why? Oh, no. You talking about this? No, this is a rugby hoodie from the Vegas Sevens. It's the latitude. This is 19 degrees north. 10th anniversary of the Vegas Sevens. I like this tag down here. It's pretty cool. No, there's nothing significant about the number 19. It's just 19 degrees latitude. Yeah, this is from Vegas Rugby Sevens 10-year anniversary. This hoodie was like $90. I went on the last day, and it was down to $30. They reduced it. So I grabbed one, and then the only one I could find was a double X large. I'm like, that's kind of big. But then I put on, it wasn't really that big. So, yeah, I love this hoodie. It's pretty cool. Yep. 19. In World War II, the average age of the combat soldier was 26. In Vietnam, it was 19. 19. All those who remember the war can't forget what they've seen. Destruction of men in their prime, whose average age was 19. 19. Today in Saigon. That's what 19 means to me, man. I'll never forget that. Okay. Love to take my kitties, but I don't know. Okay, I'm sure they'll be fine. Does my wife qualify as a pet? Well, I hope she's not watching Neptune. I finished the training half my electric switch. Congratulations, Sylvester. That's good news. I used that Pets Travel, Chris, and it was almost 3,000 Rand just from Heidelberg to Kimberley. That's inside South Africa, man. Propaganda 24, yep. Roxy, you can thank Airports Company South Africa. I use that cock them out every time we have pets on board, as they would just leave them outside in the sun with no water and all that noise. Yeah, it's terrifying. Also, if I move to the U.S., I have 2 locations currently I can watch. There's a super chat from somebody. Tel Technologies, 14 Rand. Thank you for that. Okay, Ronaldo will be on here shortly. Let me just check to make sure he's still on board and he hasn't bailed on me. No, it looks like he's still on board. Cool beans. What's this? Someone made a meme about me. Okay, let's see what this is. Someone sent this to me. I have never seen this. So let's see. This is apparently is on Twitter. Oh, there's no sound to it. Yeah, that's cute. Sandile. Thank you, Sandile. That's pretty funny. Not exactly words I've said, the quote, but folks, I'm an earworm. I'm definitely in the minds of people in South Africa, not just the media. That's funny. Wow. When did that go up? That went up today. It's got 1,500 views. Wow. Sandile says, it's interesting, there's always one argument from my people's side. Sandile, thank you for that. That's pretty good. Sandile's been on the program here before. I mean, watching. Odin loves what song? Oh, you love the 19? Yeah, okay. All right. Tagged you in it days ago. Okay, well, that was just published today. So how did you tag me in it days ago? Unless someone else made it, he's reposted. I brought dogs back from Taiwan. It was cheap then, but a mission to water the one in Malaysia. Is Ronaldo here? Oh, there's Ronaldo. You always act like I'm not available. Because you weren't, man. I mean, freaking A, getting a hold of you when you're in Parliament was an impossible task. Oh, wait, you're not in Parliament anymore. Too soon. Sorry, man. Hey, don't sweat it. I only got 1,000 votes in my election campaign, so, don't feel so bad. The only reason to stay would be respecting that. Because sometimes you're not there. You're late, okay? You've been there lately because you don't have a job anymore, man. Come on. Did she respond? No, I hadn't seen her respond. Let me look and see if she responded. She probably did because you guys were rude. I mean, it's a bunch of people being snotty about her Brybrookie's song. That was very rude. Still makes me mad. You guys don't realize... Oh, she did respond. Hang on. Hang on, guys. Hang on a second. So tomorrow is 5 p.m. Yes, 5 p.m. She did respond. So, God bless it. Sorry, folks. Okay, so, sorry. I don't have, this is when you don't give me WhatsApp. This is what I have to do. I could have done a voice note really quickly, so I just sent her a note. So, sorry about that, folks. Yeah, she did respond. She's supposed to come on tomorrow, but I've also got Bantu Holomis on tomorrow. Bantu's on at 6, so her at 5. We'll probably do her tomorrow. Wow, I lost 40 people because I typed. Come on. Yes, I'm ordering my Brybrookie's. Okay, so you guys are too funny. Yeah, 5 minutes left before we do the stream with Ronaldo. Okay, only 500 people voted. You guys are becoming cowardly now. Why aren't people voting? If you voted previously in a poll, you can still vote in this poll. Just vote it. We try to get a sense of what the crowd is saying here. The only reason I would stay is to respect the ground brought from a bank in modern times. What the heck are you talking about, man? Yeah, you have to get a travel exemption to leave the country, but it doesn't mean you won't get it. But you can't go back home unless it's extreme, because your life is in jeopardy. That's why you're leaving, then. If a pet lion, well, that's going to be a problem, Paul. Yes, I hate this keyboard, but I haven't found a quiet one. So I don't know why they make these noisy keyboards. It's a gaming keyboard. I guess they do that just so people, pay attention to you. I don't know. But it has the pretty colors, and I can change the pretty colors. So there you go. Ooh, yay. Anyway, I can change the patterns and all that. But anyway, yeah, I've tried a different keyboard. I didn't like the other one. From a war warrior to keyboard warrior. Ha, 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 ha. Maybe I should go into politics. If I fail, I can become a successful YouTuber. Well, Sylvester Slane, being a successful YouTuber is not an easy gig because it depends on so many things beyond your control. And somebody just became a member of Philly Fun Fury. Thank you for your membership. Okay, all right. 10,000 people here, a little bit of super chat money, 5 new members. We've had a lovely conversation, talked about the budget, and I guess I'll be talking about the budget with Ronaldo in just a few minutes. I'm ordering my Brybrookie's. No onions. Sorry, because it's rude. I'm not paying attention to the audience, but I need to get that message out there because it's tomorrow. Look like Chinese. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're watching Ronaldo stream. He's already streaming. No, you're not. He couldn't possibly be streaming already. He better not be streaming already. He's not streaming. You guys are just being silly. I voted. I'm not afraid to say I will go if approved. Okay, Arno, cool. I have the same one as Eben Terblanche. Well, I have I Buy Power. That's my computer. I had a... I don't have a soft touch keyboard. Those are for Apples. Living in this government is worse than living in a mentally challenged parent. Oh, there you go. Chris, I got a keyboard with red switches. The blue ones are noisy. Honestly, what's that? Pet line. Never want a public job like that. Mom was English, Dad was Welsh. That makes me 90%. Okay, Nick. 3 minutes left. 5 minutes of funk. This ain't no junk. Pull your bottom off a tree stump. Ladies real pretty. City to city. Well, now we get down to the nitty gritty. From the bottom to the top to the bottom. 4 minutes left. My name is Will. I'm a master rapper. Speak with Afrikaans podcast to get their headings correct and summarize their content. They can waste time after that. I don't know what you're getting at there, man. I live off of spar mayo and chutney. Oh, my goodness. That's not a diet. Please don't mention Kurt, Darren, and Ronaldo's show. Sadadagnak. Vuta Olafia has become a member. Thank you, Vuta. Thank you for that. Wellington sweet chili is awesome. Okay, if you say so. 2 minutes left. Leaving CN USA. Tim Martin. Oh, it's a super chat. Hey, David Farid, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Tomato money for your bride, Burki. Okay. Never wanted to go, but happy to never return. Big bride once we leave. Okay. What's this? Oh, wow. That actually was blocked. Chuck U. Farley. Is YouTube that smart that they know that mean you're being, it's a sexual innuendo? Bride Burki, I want to taste your bride Burki. That's, wow. That's pretty amazing. Okay. All right, cool. All right, guys, that's going to do it for here. Thanks for being in here. Hit the like button. Appreciate you all being here. We've had, suddenly I've got, there you go. Thanks for being here. Hit the like button if you haven't done it already. Push us up.
That was easy.
Epic broadcast. 10,800 people tuned in. 1,164 likes. The peak audience was, I think, almost, what did it get? I got up to 967. Cool being 6 new members. Boy, it's really slow over here. I got a slow feed over there. Something going on. All right, that's going to do it. I'll be on Ronaldo in just a minute. You'll be redirected automatically. Let's see how many of the 851 people here make it to Ronaldo. Thanks for being with us, folks. God bless and be safe out there. Tomorrow, Bantu Holomisa, the Deputy Minister for Military and for Veterans Affairs, as well as perhaps the young lady for Bride Burkis. Cheers. See you on Ronaldo in a minute.